Close your eyes and follow me. I see you looking, why don't you speak? If you wanna take a ride with me. Better run away if you can't stand the heat. Oh, close your eyes and follow me.
What up, squadron? How are we, gents and ladies? If there are some lurking in the chat, we're back once again, but we've got the mystical wheel of fortune this evening, guys. We've got the Super League group draw in the ACCL, and obviously joining me in the other corner of the screen, Mr. Pablo. Pabs, mate, we're going to have a pretty busy evening of top-tier teams to talk about for this one.
This Sunday evening, where else in the whole of the world are you going to get this level of quality entertainment other than on your channel, and this much COD in one afternoon? And we're talking about probably one of the biggest kind of, I would say, community-based prize pool for a league in Europe right now. Outside of you going to kind of one of these crazy global efforts, but this is like some effort by a UK-based league, so you've got to doff your cap a little bit to that one.
Yeah, so we've got plenty of teams to get through. We've got 21 in total that are entering this one. And the way it works, guys, is we've got 4 pots at the moment. Also, a quick mention as well. We do still have the 30-second delay on, guys, because we've got games coming after this one. So plenty of COD action for this one. But yeah, we've got a 30-second delay on this one. So if we can't reply to you straight away, don't worry. We will address as many things as you guys are chatting in the comments. But yeah, so we've got four pots in this one. Obviously, first through to 4th seeds. And then they're based on the pro points that the guys have as their teams. We then draw each team and then place them into the 3 groups, A, B, and C. And then basically we work through the first pot before we move on to the second pot, and then the third, and then the fourth. So pots 1, 2, and 3 have 3 teams each. and then the final pot is the remaining team. So we've got plenty to get through. But I mean, is there, when we look at this first pot, Pabs, of Team Toki, Vitalized Black, Team Ricochet, what stands out to you the most with this one?
Man, it's nothing to choose between them. I mean, you just, I mean, literally when you go and look at the pro points, there's literally hardly anything. I think there's about 400 points between them, so it's literally nothing for these guys. And honestly, you know, the Frenchies are doing great this year, so it's a weird one. I just don't even know where to begin. I can't put paper between them right now. But obviously, we spoke about Snake's team, and I mean that is a strong side. But let's be honest, you can never knock out the general. I mean, he's going to be around forever. He's the most probably familiar face in EU Call of Duty. But you've got to watch out for Luti's team. But yeah, this is super exciting. Like I literally can't wait to see this unfold.
Yeah, I mean, Luke's team is pot 2, so that's a landmine of a team. If you're one of these other teams that potentially gets to like, or any of the top 3 in the first pot, and then you land Luke's team, for example, you're going to be like, oh, brilliant. That's an absolute wonderful one to land on. But I mean, to be fair, across the board, even in that 4th pot, we've still got so many good teams in there. I mean, take your pick, really. You've got the Iniquity lads that are in there. I mean, God knows how those guys are pot 4. It's probably just their lack of pro points, really. But yeah, I mean, when you look at that new Iniquity team with JMW, Zach, Dave, and Mr. Ben Wilson, that is a juicy pot 4. So potentially you could have an absolutely stacked one where you've got maybe Flux. Say let's go Luti's team. Let's go Luke's team in another one. Then maybe Mistaken, because we can't have 2 of the same orgs in one group. Just a disclaimer, guys. And then you have maybe that. I mean, that would be the group of death potentially if you then have Iniquity in that one as well. That would for any team that goes in with that one, you're going to be thinking, bloody hell, this is gonna get mixy. A quick shout out as well to Mr. Tizzle for the sub. What a man. But I mean, should we start cracking on with it, Pabs? To be honest, because we got plenty to go for it. Now, this is a bit of a trial graphic, guys. I've done my best to make it look as interactive as possible. So hopefully, I do it right and it goes well. We'll need to keep an eye out, as mentioned, for teams that we don't double stack. So obviously, we can't have both Team Ricochet and Ricochet Darche in the same group. So if it narrows down, we will have to automate and put teams into certain groups. So fingers crossed it goes smoothly. If there are any issues, do bear with us, guys. I'll try and sort it out as quickly as possible. But we're pretty much good to go for the first one, I do believe. So straight in and Mr. Joker cast with the follow. Thank you very much, mate. So right, well, we'll press the button to see who goes first into Group A. So first one, let's see who we get in. That's Team Ricochet. And as I read them out, Pabs, if you want to read out the teams as well.
Yeah, so Team Ricochet is Lucy, Ross, J, Fades, obviously Fudzy, and T-Drills.
So let me just type that in. Hopefully. Gone in. All right. Okay. Boom. First one done. Happy days. So Team Ricochet. Now down to just Vitalized Black and Team Toki. So obviously, guys, our remaining 2 to fill out Group B and Group C. So this is our top pot of the lot. So in Group B is going to be Vitalize Black.
I think that's F.Smudge, not Jacko, and Nismo. And again, not appearing on the PB, so that's going to be a hell of a team to be coming up against. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah. And obviously, I'll do it for the sake of it.
Yeah,
man. Mate, this took me so long to get into the thing. I'm using it. I'm milking it badly. And then obviously, team number 3 is going to be Team Toki.
Toki, Twiz, Zero, and Isaac.
Not a bad team, that one. Not a bad team.
Yeah, it's decent, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not too shabby. Right. So, top 1 is now done. So now this is where it gets a little bit juicy, because we get to see who goes in with who. So, there are 3 teams here. Flux, Mr. Kez as well in his team, and then Forsaken Esports. So, we'll click the old magic boot on. Hopefully again. Won't have any issues with clashes on this one. So going into Group A up against Ricochet is going to be Forsaken Esports.
Damn, Forsaken is Temps, Onslaught, Castle, and Scrapper.
No. Forsaken Esports. Boom. In they go. So now it's between Mr. Kezaruni and the infamous Snake Odds boys. Oh, an 11 wants one of those. There you go, mate.
Ooh.
Oh, Moles wants one as well. Also, Group 2, Vitalized Black and Flux Esports pads. I mean, we saw the boys of Vitalized Black when they played Luty's COD team, so they've got now another absolute behemoth in Snake COD's team in Flux Esports.
Yeah, and if anyone doesn't know, it's Snake, Sean, 11, and the mystical bearish Corey.
Right. Yeah. Flux Esports. Wallop. Here we go. And then, yes, I am pressing it again because I'm a little neek like that. So third. And finally, last but not least, the Team Kez. So he's going in that Group C.
I think these are just literally like probably one of the kind of newest kind of teams together. Kez, Sirox, Onge, and Chica.
Right. So, obviously, now we've got a potential here where teams can and can't go into certain groups. So, obviously, Flux Esports, they can't be paired with Flux Nation. So, it might end up that even if we spin the wheel and it lands on a particular team, we're either going to have to respin it, or if we're left with two final teams, obviously, if, say, it's between Flux and Milkers, then obviously we have to put Flux in Group C and then Milkers in Group B. So, there's no clashes. So, we'll just, make sure that is all good to go. And press the magic button. It's going all right at the moment. I don't want to jinx it, though. So, looks as though, yep, no issues there. So, Flux Nation are going to go in that Group A up against Team Ricochet and Forsaken Esports.
Rutter has got a job on his hands. It's Rutter, DB, Fever the Sick Joke, and Jake Howley.
Flux Nation, in they go. Move them. And between Milkers and Mistaken, it is going to be Milkers in Group B alongside Vitalized Black and Flux.
Milkers is Nako, Ubi, Smithy, and Naughty.
Good to see Smithy back. I haven't seen Smithy in ages. Obviously, the old Clarity Red boy.
Nice to see him back in, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Good to see all the returning names finally coming through. He's a few months late, so hopefully we get to cast one of his games. That'll be good to see. And Mr. Zachary, what a handsome man with the C as well, Mr. Big Brain. Cheers, Zach. So that is now Milkers done, and yep, I am milking it. And then the last one going in, obviously, going to be Mistaken Esports.
I'm looking forward to seeing this team, man. Crookie, J Decimate, and Kays and Higgy. We know this team really well, so I'm really looking forward to see how these guys perform.
Yeah, that
Higgy
roster.
seems to love this game as well.
That roster on paper is very, very good.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can deny that. They are a very, very solid team on paper. If they can come together, I think they might be, obviously, when you look at kind of potential favourites, you look at Luty's lot, you look at the Flux lads as well. But these Mistaken Esports lads, if you're going for a dark horse, I know how good they are. But say on paper, anyways, by the standards, by other teams, you would say I would stick a good fiver on them at least, because it wouldn't surprise me if they push right through this one. To be honest, I
think Toki's going to get a surprise when he comes up against these.
Yeah, and obviously that's already become a juicy group now. Obviously, when we start to fill in the remaining teams now with this fourth pot, I mean, I was thinking at the beginning, it's like,
did Kez play Toki in the last 2K? Did they come? Was it Toki who knocked Kez out?
Toki or was it was it the Clutch Rain lads?
It was one of the Frenchies. It was some of the Frenchies.
Yeah, I can't remember. Kez, you have to give us a shout. Let's give us a shout 1 second.
Because that's a grudge match in the making.
Kez is calling Higgy a fat mong, so I had to approve it. I had to approve another one because he tried using the number 0. What a muppet. Right, okay, so that is now done. So now we go on to our final part. Look at that. All the remaining teams now. So yeah, we've still got 12 teams left to... I'll tell you, Pabs, I put in the grind for this one. I'm glad it's not been an issue. So yeah, as mentioned, we've got...
man, I need to say, hats off to Major on this one. The work this guy's put in is unreal. I've been sat back all day, lying down, playing some games, and he has been putting a shift in the background.
I was there like, Pabs, I just need the cam link, bro. Please, help me out. Right, so let's get this one underway. So going in Group A with Ricochet, Forsaken, and Flux, who is going to be the first team in. And obviously Ricochet, Darche can't go in this group. And there you go. So the first team in Group A is going to be Vitalize Esports.
Ooh, Vega, Harry, Danny G, and Shawnee. That's a
But it's a different roster, isn't it, than the vitalized ones that we've been used to with Mr. J, Prof Ghost, and Zyro.
But we know, I mean, I know Fac Vega and Danny G are going to be dropping bombs, so I mean that's going to be a tasty side anyway.
Right, vitalized esports, in they go. Off they go. Spin the wheel. Right. Now going into Group B, who have we got? Ooh, the Iniquity Boys. Oh, is it? Oh, has it gone over? Oh no, it's gone just over.
Black Square.
It's Black Square GG. This is a roster that I'm not too sure about, to be honest.
No, I'm not. None of the names are familiar. Storms, Rudy, Punker, and Vodrich. Maybe Vodrich is. I'm thinking Vidrich, maybe the Scottish lad. But yeah, I mean, maybe this is more familiar to the guys who do Charles and S&D stuff. But yeah, Black Square GG. Lumped into a hell of a group there.
Yeah, I mean, just take your pick, really. It's like your lesser of three evils, really, isn't it? With these lot. I mean, after the GBs and the pro points that we played earlier, I don't think we'd get a kill with these lot, to be honest. Right.
You would get a kill.
Maybe one or two. I'll give myself two. I'll just sit in a corner for the entire map.
Is this only interested to see what the disparity in skill between me and Major is in the game? He dropped 31 in a hard point where I dropped 7.
It was the passion, Pab. That's all that matters. That's all that matters,
mate.
And Daisy saying, "Is this EU only?" Yes, it is, mate. Yep, this is EU for the ACCL. Right. So next team up, going into Group C with Toki, Kez, and Mistaken, is going to be. Is it going to roll over? Oh, I think it is. Right, so that makes it easy for us. The Ricochet Darche. So we know a bit about these boys.
Yeah, man, look who specs Wake and Seabiz, and obviously we know all these players really well. A tidy side as well, and a definite worry on the map, especially in S&D. You know, Specs does love his S&D, so it should be an interesting one.
Yeah, hopefully we get to see.
Tough group for them, though.
Yeah, that is a rough group. I can literally picture Wake saying it now. Not gonna lie, lads, I'm getting bummed.
Get the Vaseline ready.
Honestly, that was one of the funniest series I've ever seen in my entire life. It was such a funny series when they played Steve Vortex's lot with Kez. And that. I mean, you know, kind of the personalities that they had on that roster, anyways. But when you combine the likes of Kez with Wake and that, it was just it was comedy gold. I was clipping it so many times for so many moments. It was so funny. But yeah, they go in that group seat for the group of death.
Man, if you haven't watched the Kez stream as well out there, you've got to watch a Kez stream just for We Are the Champions alone for the sing-along.
Yeah, no, 100%. Kez streams are always top vibes. Oh, Mr. Ollie with the resub. Thank you very much, Ollie. How are you, brother? And Kearney with the follow as well. Thank you very much. So, yeah, we are now 12 teams down, and we have 9 to go. So let's see who is going in that Group A. And remember, guys, this is for £1,000. So there's plenty on the line here. A lot of players will be licking their lips at that. And this one is going to be And We Play.
And We Play is going to be at another team. Not entirely sure. It looks like they're looking for a fourth, unless they haven't announced it. And that's going to be Chitaz, Blaster, and Cheek, with a fourth being blank. So I think if you are a free agent out there of a reasonable level, maybe it's time to hit And We Play up.
Yeah, cool. Cool. Right, so Group B. Who is going in? It's going to land on. It's one of the Liquidates. It is going to be Liquidate Solar, who we've asked quite a few times. That is Mr. Tommy Lee.
Probably one of the teams that we're most kind of like familiar with. T. Lee, Atomic, AM, and Gaza, 4 very talented lads. But again, this is going to be a very difficult group for them. I'm sure they're very familiar with everyone in there, so it should be super exciting, mate. I can't wait to cast these games. That Group C though is looking very, very tasty.
We're gonna need more hours in the day. Like there's gonna be so many good games.
We just have to pack in our day jobs, mate. Just have to. It'll have to be. As you're gonna have to pay us some wages.
Oh mate, that would be the dream. Can you imagine if we get to that stage where it's just like, man, just Call of Duty to get by. That is the dream. Oh, there you go. Mr. Snake Cod is lurking as well. How you doing, Luke? So yeah, we now have the final in 5 fill out. See who is going to drop in there. And Mr. Allen as well in the chat. Good to see Al. So it's going to be ICG Takeover, who I think is another roster that we're not too familiar with, if I remember.
Zero's in there, though. I think we know Zero. So
is it Zyro's lot?
Yeah, Estarge, Clarky, Zyro, and Robbo.
Oh, there you go. Mr. It says with the follow. One of the players we out earlier. Thank you very much, buddy. I'll just make sure I fill these in. It is GG.
Excuse me. I just burped down the mic. It's alright.
It's right. I don't think it picked up, so I think you're safe. Right. No. Get cracking on again. And it looks as though it's going to be the Banana Boys. London Varsity. They are going to fill out another slot in that Group A.
Yeah, and this team does look like it's looking for 2, so I don't know whether you're an AR or an SMG and you have a reasonable talent. Probably good to hit these boys up, but presently just listed Legacy and Money Ted as their only 2 players. That obviously needs to be confirmed, but yeah, potentially looking for 2, so if you are out there looking to get involved in this, it might be worth hitting up the Varsity boys and seeing how they let them see how you shape up.
Yeah. So, now we can't have the other Liquidate team in this one. And it looks as though, again, we have been blessed with no technical difficulties on that one.
Yep.
So it's going to be Team Pulsar Esport.
Okay, this is going to be Furious Slays, Infinity, Ultra, and I think it's Donny B. Not sure. Don't think we cast over any of these guys. I think they've got names almost familiar, almost the same as other players, but not quite the same.
Furious Slayers, Infinity, Ultra, and Donny B. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Those names don't ring a bell. Apologies if we have, guys. It's the us going senile in our old age, really.
Well, I mean, it's so close to Furious Liam, but it's not him. It's so close to Infinity FPS, but it's not him. And then, I don't know, Donny B. These are new, so this could be an exciting team, and they have been put into a really strong group as well. So
yep. So, oh, there you go. Lissandro is joining us. How you doing, Lisa? Yeah, so Team Pulsar filling out that slot number 6 in Group B. Let's see what we've got going into Group C in slot 6, and it looks as though it is going to be Team Vertex.
There's another team reasonably unfamiliar with, Keto, DMS, Corny, and James as well. James, maybe we cast over James recently, or maybe we played against James recently. Actually,
I think we did. I played him in a GB. I think I might have played him in a GB yesterday. You know, maybe I'm going mad. Or was it today?
It might have been, I think it might have been. He might have actually just absolutely pooed all over us today.
Yeah, we've just been absolutely violated. Keto, Dreams, Kearney, and James. Yeah, no, I think I played Keto yesterday. I think it was his team that was shooting my bodies in the GBs at 1:30 in the morning. Each to their own, I guess. If the passion's flowing, the passion's flowing. Right, so Team Vertex, in they go. So we are down to 3 teams. Liquidate, Oni, Unbelievable Jeff, and Iniquity Esports, Pabs. So again, whoever lands that Iniquity team, probably not going to be too happy about that one. But we'll get it going. See who is going to drop into Group A. It is going to be Unbelievable Jeff.
Yeah, and that's going to be Troke, Dizzy, Destroy, and Pac-9. So a couple of the Dutch lads, and yeah, we know a couple of these players. But yeah, I guess the other, you don't really. I know you want to spin the wheel, but Liquidate can't really go into Group B. So it looks like they're going to pop into Group C.
Yeah, so based on that, guys, yeah, so obviously, as Pabs mentioned, Liquidate cannot come up against Liquidate, so it is going to be the boys of Iniquity going into Group B. Let me just fill that out quickly.
I'll just try and find Iniquity Esports, which is Ben Wilson, JMW, Zachary,
the boys.
And Dave. So a really strong side going into a very strong group.
So Liquidate only, in they go. So yeah, guys.
Liquidate only, sorry mate to interrupt.
Yeah, no, go on.
KPL, Ty, Alaska, and Cade. I think Cade's probably the only familiar name there, but yeah, another solid team.
Yeah, so that is that's it all sorted, guys. We have our 3 groups for the ACCL Super League underway. I mean, take your pick, Pabs. Is there one that you're thinking is looking pretty juicy, or is it looks pretty square across the board, to be honest?
I would say Group C is definitely probably the closest to a kind of group of death. But with Iniquity Esports going into Group B, that's JMW's team, isn't it? Yeesh, that one's a tricky one as well. So Group B, I mean, they're all looking really tight, like tasty to an extent. Yeah, it's a tricky one. Vitalized Black and Flux Esports and Iniquity Esports in there, and then you've got that kind of dark horse of Liquidate Solar, and then Group C is stacked really. That's crazy to think about. And then obviously you've got Group A, which I think is we probably predict that slightly more than the others. I think that's probably a little bit more predictable, but either way, this is going to be a crazy season. and a crazy group of matches as well. In fact, I'm just really looking forward to seeing how the actual series pan out in terms of the schedule now.
Yeah, I think it's as soon as we get underway, which is going to be tomorrow. So as soon as everyone gets their game sorted, obviously drop me and Pabs a line if you do want the game casted. We will do our best to cover as many of them as possible. There's obviously going to be a lot going on with 21 teams across 3 groups. I believe it's a 5-week process for the Super League. I think it's 3 weeks of group stages and then 2 weeks of bracket play. And I'll just make sure as well, because Mr. President did kindly send us over the format, so I will just run through it. Yeah, so it's going to be the top 4 from each group of the 7 go through into the double elimination. First from each group play second place, and they will go through into winners round 2, and then the rest of the 8 teams will start in winners round 1. So looks as though 8 teams, yeah. So by the looks of it, top 4 from each group. I mean, you got to try and squeeze yourself into that one then with the teams that are in this one.
I would suggest that the great thing about that is that 4th place is going to be across all those groups is going to be fought so hard.
Yeah.
Like them games that when we get into that week 4, week 5 period, that is going to be wild. These games are going to be, there's going to be some scrapping going on, I think, and there's going to be some amazing stories and potentially grudges for the next season being built already. This is going to be unreal. And think about where we were last year in terms of the ACCL to be here and kind of like preparing for what is potentially going to be probably the most interesting non kind of like challenger league in Europe right now. That's super exciting.
Yeah, and with all kind of the gaps between the Challengers Cup and the Elite Qualifiers, it's a good opportunity for, even if they're playing for this £1,000 prize pool, even just to get some reps in that are away from scrims and kind of a more competitive atmosphere. And obviously with Control now in as well, Pab, so we'll be from this point forward, obviously the 2 series that we've got tonight that are coming straight after this one, guys. If you do want to stay on board, we've got 2 Division 2 games that are going to be after this one. They've got Control in them, so this is now kind of an opportunity potentially with this one for teams, if they have been really cracking down Control. It could be potentially a swing map in some of these series, which I've got a feeling a lot of them are going to be very close.
Yeah, I mean, for the last few months, the real kind of swing map has been that map 4 hardpoint. It's usually an outlier map. It's usually one that people don't necessarily scrim very, very well. So it's chosen, based on how awkward the map it is. We saw that initially with Desert Siege, and then we saw Gavutu coming into the rotation more and more. So now the Control is finally in. We are seeing this earlier kind of potential to see games. So I think we're going to see a lot less 3-0s. And we're going to start hitting these 3-1s and 3-2s that we were seeing in Cold War. So this is going to be pretty exciting. I would suggest that the controls potentially aren't as balanced as they could be. I think we'll probably see a lot of Tuscan control until people kind of get to grips with the kind of abnormalities of Gavutu. But it is what it is, and it's going to be super exciting. And I genuinely can't wait to get stuck into these groups.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is a case of Mark call in sick first week to try and cram them all in, because there's going to be a lot of them flying left, right and centre for this one. And yeah, every single matchup is going to be interesting for us now, whether it's kind of old storylines that we're used to seeing, or whether it's going to be new storylines that are coming to the forefront. I mean, yeah, take your pick at any of the groups, really. Every single game, guys, is going to be an absolute banger in this Super League, with a combination of kind of the top 16 teams against the best of the ACCL has had in previous months. So obviously, we'll try and cover as many of them as possible. I believe it's myself, Pabs, Jacko, and there might be one other caster. I'm not sure if Prezzi's nailed on another one yet. But yeah, we'll try and bring you guys as many of these as possible, because trust me, we're just as interested in watching these ones as you guys are playing them and watching them yourselves. So yeah, we'll try and crack on with as many of them as possible. But that is the draw done and dusted, guys. So a huge thank you for tuning in. I will quickly cut it to just a quick short break, because we do have a game starting just after this. But obviously, we're not going to take too much of your guys' time. If you do want to run, grab some food, because that's probably what I'm going to have to do. But I will leave the stream up for the time being, and we will be back at 7 p.m. for our next game in Division 2, which is going to be Team Arise up against Vitalize White. So if you do want to stay on board or dip away and come back at 7 o'clock, that's when that game is due to start. A big thank you to everyone who has tuned in. And, well, I mean, I guess the last thing to say, Pabs, is good luck to everyone, really, for this one, because there's a lot of money on the line and a lot of good games that will be going underway.
And just, I don't know whether, I mean, Prezi will probably just want to say, like, thanks to everyone from the teams for getting involved, and just, you know, this is going to be a huge success. You know, there's 21 teams of the highest caliber throughout Europe, and it's just going to be, you know, phenomenal to watch. So yeah, I guess absolute, you know, work by everyone, and a big thank you to you as well, man, for just putting in the grind to get all these graphics together and to sort the stream out.
That's right. I'm just glad it didn't fail. I'm glad we didn't have any issues with any technical stuff. So yeah, it was definitely worth it. It was good fun putting it together, to be fair. And obviously moving forwards now, if we have a similar thing, which I believe we will more than likely have in ACCL with the way it's going at the moment, we're going to have another season of Super League, so we can just rinse and repeat and use it once again. So yeah, a huge thank you to everyone who has tuned in. Once, as I mentioned, the stream will still be staying live. I'll just stick it to a be right back screen while me and Pablo probably stuff our faces as quickly as possible before the next two series get underway, starting at 7 o'clock. So as mentioned, 7 o'clock is Team Arise versus Vitalize White, and then at 8:15 roughly, give or take, depending on when the first series finishes, it's going to be Incentive Rebellion up against Katana Pyro. So the Katana Land's going to be back again. But yeah, huge thanks, guys. We'll cut it to a quick break, but we will be back in about 15 minutes for our next series. So we'll catch you then, guys. Cheers again.
Oh, you walk in here and dropping names. You're just a habit I can break. Up in the air every time I'm to your vibe isn't our fate. Though it won't work out, should've known better. It never works out every time. I got a bad habit of loving you, falling in love so easy for the things that you do. I've got a bad habit of loving you. I gotta
got this question on my tongue. It's probably gonna end up sounding stupid. Unless you tell me this is what you want, then we can go, then we can go. Cause I like the way we're swaying in the moonlight, and we're kissing like we're trying to say goodbye. I don't know if it's the drinks, but I need you to be mine. I just wanna waste the night that they tell me, can I be your sweet mistake? We could watch the ocean fade away. Tell me, can I be your sweet mistake?
should we stop? I wanted to pick me off my feet, ripping my heart off my sleeve, even if it's for a night. Wanna believe that gravity never get hold of you and me. Yeah, I'm fading in this fantasy. Yeah, we could stay, so come on over, pull me closer. Why don't we stay, and I get older, like we're supposed to. Yeah, we could stay, so come on over. We could stay, pull me closer. We could stay. Why don't we stay, and I get older. We could stay, like we're supposed to. We're supposed to be. Why don't we
Walking through the sun, feel the heat burn up my lungs. Taking one last breath, every step I walk, no rest. I'm needing once more, I won't let me fall. From the edge into this world, don't get me so low. Resistance is show, 'cause I got my strength, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone.
What up, squadron? We're back. We're back. This time, no big multicolored wheel on this one. We're back to what we know and love. Call of Duty, just casting, just chatting waffle, and yeah, we've got another division. Division. Good start. We've got a Division 2 game here between Team Arise, Jacko's team, and Vitalize White. So we thought for a second this one might not be going ahead, but it is. And we're just lobbying up now. So.
I mean, it's going ahead right now, which is, you can't ask for better than that, can you?
I know, it's just straight in at the
Straight
deep end.
into the action.
Yeah, let me
Let's
just
get it. Triple Tuscan. No one cares about the map series. They're just the wildest kind of veto process in the world. You know, it was looking off and then it's looking on. This is Sunday evening Call of Duty. We've got the Toads brothers. Oh, I don't even know what kind of relation they are, but they are definitely got the rhyme and slang in on point right now. And we've got James, maybe the James. Is it the James that bodied us today? Probably not. But
we'll have to see, mate. We'll have to see. Let me just see. I think you're the right stuff because see the maps and stuff need to get going. Cool. Right, so guys, these are our maps for the series, and wow. Triple Tuscan, I hope you guys like it, because we might have a lot of it. So yeah, Bocage Hardpoint Map 1, everyone's favourite. Berlin Map 2 for the search, and then Tuscan Control, Pablo. We finally got a control. Have we casted the Tuscan Control? I don't think we have. I think it's been Gavutu, isn't it?
a Tuscan Control, I don't think we've cast a control yet together, mate.
Oh, did you not cast the Gavutu with me? Was it just me? Maybe I'm going.
No, because we did. It was 2 games back to back, and I had to dip on the second game.
Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah, no, so I mean, welcome to the land of control, Pabs. We're here. We've landed. We've got a game 3. It's a bit of a messy one, not gonna lie. It has moments where you think, okay, it works. On Gavutu, it's not too bad because the map's quite big. But I've got a feeling Tuscan might be a little bit messy for some of the spawns, from what I've seen, anyways. From scrims and various other things, it can be a bit of a wild one. Tuscan Control, not gonna lie. So it's gonna be a bit of a pilot map for us on this one.
I mean, we've seen Gavutu's kind of unbalanced, and Tuscan does seem a bit wild. But I mean, essentially both maps have essentially been TDM with the. I think even if you look at the Kickoff Classic, I think we were talking like the last game last night was the first time that someone took a control in the actual conventional objective sense. Prior to that, every single control had ended almost as a TDM, so it just came down to life count. So no one really playing the objective, because I mean, you look at Tuscan and look where the kind of B hill is, and it's in probably one of the most. I mean, it's the most awkward hill in hardpoint anyway, so it's going to lend itself to being incredibly difficult. And then you look at the A hill, and again that P1, if you look at hardpoint, is consistently easy to maintain a challenge on. So it's no surprise that we're seeing this go down to almost a TDM style. Gavutu, again, I think it's probably I think that's why you're seeing it favoured more in this Kickoff Classic, because there is a bit more balance to it. But Tuscan, yeah, it's going to be a wild one, mate.
Yeah, so we're just waiting on them to press the big red button. Everyone's on the right sides. I'm not quite sure who's hosting map number 1, but yeah, Bocage Hardpoint, Pablo. I mean, we know this one very, very well. And the last time we saw a Rise, let me just quickly consult the book of goodies. Yeah, so they beat FBG. And did they play Bocage? I don't think they did. No, they didn't. So we're not used to seeing what these guys are like, but they did win all but one of the respawns. So from what we've seen of this Team Arise team, they do look pretty decent. We know how good the FBG lads are. And they looked fairly comfortable against those boys as well.
Yeah, and you just got to, obviously we talk about coats and totes, but James is an exceptional player, and he's going to put up big numbers. So obviously we've got a lot of new faces to cast over in Vitalize White. And we just got to see. And Bocage really doesn't tell us a great deal, because obviously it does separate skill gap quite effectively. So yeah, I think regardless of the scoreline, we're really not going to get a good taste of how the teams do unless there's a massive blowout until we get to that map 2.
Oh, map number 1 underway, guys. As mentioned, this is Division 2. As much as our Division 1 excitement hit the roof, we aren't playing that until tomorrow. So Division 2 between Vitalize White and Team Arise, and already James right off the rip, 2 big kills. And this is the thing we talk about all the time, isn't it, Pablo? It's almost like P1 just gets completely neglected, and you end up with a battle around the back of barn just non-stop.
Yeah, and Tote's already looking to try and get, as much kind of leverage across that map as possible. And he gets a two-piece. He disgusting player right there, dropping TK and Faded, who were trying to push him out. They knew the danger was there. If he gets a third, man, Team Arise already looking strong. We're seeing players, Tote is on a 3-0 right now. James with an important two-piece, and already we're seeing that flip towards that P2 and a successful one by Team Arise. So despite the scoreline right now being quite close, I would suggest that Team Arise looking very, very strong for their money.
Yeah, so Jay Coates, there's a couple of players here in and around him, and wow, nice set of kills from Jay Coates. Plug the Twitch in because that was a good clip there. Really good work there from Jay Coates. 5-1 now and 3 in a row, so a couple away from the glide bomb. And the boys of Team Arise try and hold here on P2, but Trevor, nice work to take down one, but they're really struggling at the moment, Pablo, in terms of kills. The boys in Team Arise are not letting their foot off the gas anytime soon, but saying that, I've just completely jinxed it like we always do, and they did manage to get a few important kills in important time as well.
Yeah, timing is everything, and just as Team Arise look to be in the ascendancy, Vitalize White with an awesome break and great work across the board, especially from TK and Saka. Saka, a player I think we are familiar with. I've seen him in other teams prior to this season, so it's no surprise that he's 6-4 right now. He's probably going to need to use some of that experience and get himself on the kill and try and just boost a little bit of time. But right now, Vitalize, despite that lack of slaying power across the board, are doing well to stay toe-to-toe. But Bocage, again, one of these maps where, it doesn't separate teams very well. So Team Arise is still going to have a good fight on their hands. TK go nice in top barn.
Oh, nice work there by TK. 3 in a row now for him. Looking for the fourth, but Evro. I think I got confused with Patrice Evra. Ezro manages to rip his wig straight off on that occasion. So TK going to fall, and the boys of Team Arise punch their way through. They've now got the back spawns as well. So although it looks as though Vitalize White we're looking good over towards this Granny's Hill. It is now completely switched, and James with a big kill inside the hill. Are they going to manage to trade their way out? No, Totes with another couple of kills, and that is a full man wipe now. Team Arise really putting their foot down now. Certain a lot of dominance in this series. TK going to try and work his way through. Not going to be able to get some shots in, and Jacob's another couple of kills from him to push himself out on the 5 streak. He will get cut just short by Saka, but it looks as though the boys in that pink colour are really starting to push this lead out quite considerably.
Yeah, and they were fortunate. Vitalize White managed to get the spawns just behind kind of mid-shed, and were able to just, get 2, consistent breach attempts, but they were just repelled rather easily by Team Arise, and Jay Coates in particular just going off in the middle and just picking up those kind of unaware transitional movements from Vitalize White. And another big 2 for Ezro there as he just bodies team. Again, the gun skill just looking a little bit better for Team Arise than it is for Vitalize White, who don't look like they've warmed up just yet, but again, the scoreline just starting to see a little bit of air between the two teams. It's about 50 seconds, maybe 46 seconds now. And yeah, big plays from Team Arise. But Saka on a 5 speed, and that's going to be, could have been vital if he was able to get a couple more kills and eventually get that glide, but not able to do it. And we see the trades, as ever in this barn, he'll go back and forth. But Major looking strong for the boys in red right now.
Yeah, really good work again. Jay Coates is going to pick off the last remaining man nearby. TK is actually going to head over and try and get some scrap time himself. So he's got a big gunfight up against James here. Is he going to manage to grab one? Nope. That's not going to quite connect. And they're just waiting and repositioning for the time being. But you can see Ezro's all the way out the back here. It looks as though Vitalize White have a little bit of an idea that he might be here. But he's just playing it really sneakily at the moment. And Faded going to be dead to right, surely. Yep, nice kill once again from the boys of Team Arise. They break in towards the next hill. And it might be a case now of seeing that potential glide bomb from Saka here, because this is one of the more justifiable hills to use it on.
Yeah, Saka's gonna. I don't know. Did he get the glide bomb? I'm not sure whether
he did.
Did he get the glide? Yeah, so a good opportunity for him to potentially see this out. I suggest the Team Rise will plop someone on the hill with flak jacket, but again, just big plays. Vitalize White just seem to take the foot off the gas and maybe just get bodied a bit in one kill, and then they're able to come back. Saka is going to drop that out, but it does look like it was a team wipe by the Team Vitalize guys, so not able to use that glide effectively. And again, this could be a communication issue between the 4 players in blue. They've done well to bring this back to kind of 20-second game, so 20-30-second game. So Team Arise really need to start turning this kind of like slaying power they've got into seconds, because I know Bocage makes it difficult to do that because of the amount of challengeable hills, but right now this slaying not really paying much dividends for the team in red, and Vitalize White still with a healthy opportunity to bring this game back.
Yeah, and the slaying power on Team Arise at the moment is really carrying this lead out at the moment. Trevor and Faded just struggling at the moment. If they can get some couple of waves of kills here, Vitalized Black, Vitalized White, sorry, there's so many teams, I always get confused with my small brain, but Vitalized White, apologies. Now looking decent, ooh, potentially here, but Faded needs a bit more as well to come from him. He will get taken down though by Jay Coates, and now those blue arrows working their way around the back. Is TK going to check this left-hand corner? You can see Ezro is located in the biggest hiding spot, probably on Bocage, all the way out the back, and if he checks this corner, just going to nip past TK. Spots him there, though. Shots going through as the glide bomb lands, and James actually manages to grab all three to try and push through towards the hill. So Trevor's now going to be the last man nearby as this new hill is going to pop. I'm not sure Totes has spotted him, though. So Trevor, good work in the back. Just needs to try and stay alive here to secure the spawns.
Yeah, this is going to be a big moment, Trev. Just getting into a nice cubby at the side of the doorway, and this is going to be a huge moment. And he just get absolutely bodied by James, who's almost got a sixth sense of things like that. Absolutely huge play there for Team Arise, and we are starting to see that kind of like deficit, that difference that there wasn't there earlier in the game as Jay Coates goes on a 5 spree, just starting to appear, and that there is just a little bit of daylight, only 50 seconds or so for Team Arise. But you would suggest they're in the ascendancy. They've got that barn coverage, so it's still really difficult for Vitalized White to even get close to the hill, and with only 25 seconds remaining, you would suggest there's only one more reach opportunity to this hill before they start having to think about P3, and you can already see number 6 is going to be Ezro, just looking to push down towards low grannies and try and get the pick and that control. And he's got 2 players to deal with, and again Saka with a nice opportunity to get another glide. And this time round, man, if he does get it, he's going to have to make much better use than he did in the previous rotation.
Yeah, and a big gunfight in the back, and Faded holds really strong there. Good work there from him. He's still got another man nearby in Jay Coates. Is he going to check the corner? Oh, Ezro, apologies. He manages to drop him as well, but you can see those pink arrows. Oh, but Faded is having none of it. He is just gunning every single one of them down at the moment. They will manage to take him out of that tower position. And it looks as though James is going to try and work an angle to work on towards the hill. They've still got Saka to clear out of it. They might not realise he's here because he's not soaking up any time. And Totes, there you go, runs straight in towards the shots, being completely unaware. But James is there for the trade, but it's a bit of a messy hill at the moment as Jay Coates is going to trade out a teammate. Likewise on the side of Vitalized Black. So it looks as though it's still going to be quite a heavily contested hill, but all the hip fire comes through there for Mr. Jay Coates once more. 24 and 17 from him now. And the boys of Vitalized White, they really need some kills, and they need them soon here because they are getting put to the sword a little bit now. You can see only Totes at the moment, currently 2 negative, and when every single player apart from Saka is negative on the side of Vitalized Black, you do start to worry a bit, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely, and they've stretched it out to kind of a 60-second lead, and that's a really dominant position in Bocage. We know how close these games can be, and 60 seconds is an absolute performance. You know, you take these two teams onto another map, and that potentially could be 100 or more seconds. Bocage has got its very own specific quirks in terms of how close teams can get. So right now, Vitalized White really do need to pick things up. Trevor heavily on the struggle bus. You know, despite that KD though, he has got a solid 1 minute 11 in time. So you would just need that bit of support. Faded again, 19 and 28 with only 3 seconds, and just needs to maybe either pick up a few kills or just start to try and soak up a little bit of time if possible. But right now, major Team Arise just not missing any shots. Everyone's positive. Everyone's got a reasonably strong amount of kill time, and that's what you want from a 4-man right there. A solid performance across the board for me. I would suggest this is the last possible moment in this game right now for Vitalized White to potentially pick this game up.
Yeah, they really need to start getting some momentum now, so they will potentially have an opportunity to hold a bit of time on this next hill. But can Jay Coates be the spoiler? Oh, I think he's got a TK out the back. Oh, he definitely did then. The glide bomb's actually going to come through, I believe, from Ezro, and he's going to look to try and land it on Saka. He's just going to try and finesse his way around. It is going to tag him up, but not grab the kill. So that flak jacket coming in through clutch once again, and there's big gunfights going out the back. Ezro able to win yet another one. He's spotted Trevor as well, which is teammate, and Jay Coates is able to mop up. They're still spawning, though, over towards that back corner, currently Vitalized White, so they need to make the most of these close spawns. Saka able to take down one. James is going to get taken down by Faded. TK, can he look for the trade as well? They really need to work their way on towards the hill here, because although, Pablo, they had a bit of control, they just weren't really getting somebody on the hill.
Yeah, I think a lot of timing just went awry, and I don't think they expected the Team Arise to get the spawns over towards the back. They did have a heavy presence at the back tree, back L area, and it just wasn't enough to stop the spawns. I think they thought they blocked them effectively enough, but no, Team Arise able to get around the back, and that is going to stay contested, but Totes with a nice big kill, and that's going to spawn the boys from Vitalized White out of, but they've done enough to make an effective challenge. That kill pretty much not going the way of either team really effectively. I think they took about 20 seconds each on it, But yeah, going into this heavily contested P1, you would suggest that the team that are able to really get control of P2, because we do expect this one to stay reasonably challenged, especially if Trevor's going to be allowed to free roam like that and get picks. He's played so well with a lovely two-piece there, eventually getting dropped by, the ever-present James on 29 and 24 with a minute on the hill. What a huge performance from the young man.
Yeah, and this is the difficulty with Bokash. If you're not getting the kills, the teammates can, although reinforce so quickly, but if you're not getting multiple of them, the time just does start to bleed away, and another full-man wipe there for Vitalized White is just what they need. But now this P2 hold is going to be make or break for them here. They need to hold off the arrows from Team Arise. Nice shots, though, again from Trevor, who's starting to get a bit of steam now. And the boys of Vitalized White are slowly starting to reduce this lead that Team Arise have got, but with only 10 seconds remaining, scrap time is going to be absolutely huge for them now. They can't allow Team Arise to even really touch the hill, and look at the flock of players out towards the back. Glide Bomb's going to come through. I think it's Jay Coates calling it in. He's going to look to try and force the players inside Barn. He's going to take down Faded, and the break looks pretty much textbook as Trevor's going to be the last man up. Just trying to finesse his life at the moment. Nobody currently on the hill, but Trevor gets taken down, and it's looking like danger now for Vitalized White. TK, he needs to go huge. They've still got a man on the contest. TK hops up, but James is there. He's still holding the time, and now they need to flood. 3 seconds remaining. I don't even think they're going to be able to touch this one, Pabs, and I think map 1 is done, and it is Team Arise going to take it in the end. 250 to 191, and a good start from the boys in pink.
Yeah, and you just got to look to Jay Coates, top barn. He's got that power position. He can, watch people coming through barn. He can watch those stairs, and he can watch over the hill, and tag people up coming around that kind of balcony platform area. And it was a great performance. Huge performance from Jay Coates, though. 37 and 28, an absolutely disgusting amount of kills. But I mean, the whole team across the board getting good time, good kills. They didn't look like they panicked at any point. But what I would say is, Vitalized White, if you are going to take anything from it, is potentially did you warm up at the start of the game? Because the beginning of it was kind of a blowout, but you really started to look very, very good towards the end, and even the players who were on the struggle bus early doors starting to pick up some good kills. And whether they can carry this over, we're going to go into an eminently more cautious game. Is whether they can keep that energy level they've had at the end of the game and just drag it through into the next two games is going to be vital for them to stay in the series. Or I would suggest that Team Arise might do very, very well in this game.
Yeah, so if you did just miss it, guys, Smalani has dropped by HDML. It did finish 250 to 191 to Team Arise. A really solid performance again in a respawn from these boys. Something that we're becoming pretty used to, Pabs. They do look like a bit of a tasty respawn team, especially in terms of kills. Sometimes the rotations might get the better of them, but they always seem to have the ability, if needed, just to kind of punch their way through as a worst case.
Yeah, absolutely. They just, one thing at the minute they haven't been put under any real pressure so far in the games we have cast them, but they've been so kind of cohesive as a unit. They're always there for trades. In fact, the teams they have played have probably had the lower end of the non-traded kills on the stats, and that's because they trade so effectively. Yeah. They're always there to support each other. They move as a unit. They commit really cleverly as well. It's one of the things that some of the better teams do, is their commitment to next is always just about right, and based on the kind of hill that they're rolling to as well. So it'd be interesting to see them on a Desert Siege hardpoint, just to see how they cope with the obviously it's a much more difficult hardpoint strategically. We're not going to get to see it today, but at some point it would be nice to see how they go about that, because obviously that P1 to P2 is definitely one of the most interesting ones we've seen in a Call of Duty. But rocking into a Search and Destroy, again, we know they're very effective. They also, what's nice about them is they're patient. They don't always just rush onto the hill, and that transfers over to S&D quite nicely. So it's going to be great to see them perform again. But again, we talk about this, who knows, Vitalized White might be an absolutely awesome S&D side and just be on the struggle bus for respawn. But yeah, I would suggest Team Arise just looking very strong at the minute and just looking like the more cohesive team.
Yeah, and we've seen it time after time where teams, it wasn't really necessarily a rough map 1 for Vitalized White. I think they just took a while to get going, which is something that we're like so used to seeing from a lot of teams, and it wouldn't surprise me if Vitalized White do look solid in this Search and Destroy. We've seen it multiple occasions where a team will lose a map 1 and then bounce back with a map 2, and then especially now with control back in, it's kind of all up in the air as to who could potentially take that swing map if they do need it. Because if Vitalized White take 2 searches and then somehow manage to pull a control away, they've won the series. So it's a case of not necessarily trying to stick your flag on the side of Team Arise too soon, but after map 1 and what we've seen of them at least in previous series, they do look very well equipped in kind of a good balance of gun skill and in terms of like the strategic plays. because they're not just all firepower. They do smart things on the odd occasion. I think it's just the consistency for them is the main thing. If they can keep that going.
Yeah, I think if towards the end, they started to actually understand the pace of the barrage, especially with regard to how Team Mirage were controlling that pace. They started to get kills. You saw Faded, you saw TK go from being in really quite an awful position in terms of KD to picking things up, and then we did see a little bit of time going their way. At one point, it was 130 to 180. They managed to get themselves into about 176, 180 at the end. So, able to kind of mix it, but yeah, you would suggest if they'd had the kind of impetus they had at the end of the game, at the beginning of the game, that would have been a completely different outcome. So yeah, whether they've had the opportunity, obviously they had some issues with the player at the start of the game, whether they've had the opportunity to warm up, individually, that could be an issue right there. And again, we do say that, I got to reiterate this, sometimes these games are won and lost outside of the, prior to a gun being shot, and if you're not warmed up enough to go into a game and you go in cold and it takes you, a rotation and a half to get your gun skill up to point, then you've lost the game already, and you're on an uphill battle for the rest of the series.
Yeah, and I think that's why we tend to see a lot of teams kind of frantically looking for scrims before the game starts, because there's only so much you can kind of do with bots. Obviously, the movement that bots have in comparison to what you see, especially on a bocage where you've got slide cancels and off the top rope from pretty much every building, you can warm up to a certain extent and kind of get your shot a bit crisp, but obviously getting used to the movement and the speed of the game is something that you really need kind of scrims and actual like game battle, even GBs or pro points to kind of get used to it. So it's not necessarily the easiest thing to get hold of. A quick shout out to Granter and PWOP for the follow. Thank you very much, guys. But yeah, we are jumping very shortly into map number 2, guys. We're just waiting on them to hit the start button. If you did miss the first map, Team Arise took it 250 to 191 on the Bocage hard point, and we're going into a Blint search and destroy, and then a triple Tuscan with the beauty of control. And actually, Pablo, one thing I wanted to ask you about as well was on the actual not challenges. Oh my god, the kickoff tournament. I don't know if you noticed, but the glide bomb and the strafing run are the other way round on their game, because they play on a slightly different build, don't they, from what we've been told. So it wouldn't surprise me if we also see something that flips that and resembles it on this game after the kickoff tournament, because it's almost like not a trial. I suppose it is a trial, really, isn't it? The kickoff, they're kind of obviously touching and trying to feel their way around certain changes, and it looks as though that might potentially be one that we see further down the line.
Yeah, I think they just thought that the glide was probably a little too easy to get and a little too OP.
Yeah.
So they've made it more difficult. They've reduced its impact on the map, because if there's a slight skill disparity, if you go into something like Gavutu, and we've talked about a million times, and you get you get a couple of players getting 2 glides going into that P2, the end of P2, they control P3 so easily. So yeah, definitely needed to be looked at, and it wouldn't surprise me if that kind of like change in the game in the NA is reciprocated over to the EU. But again, we go into this in a very aggressive start from the boys of Vitalized White. Are really nice and nearly gets a pick because of that aggression. But I would suggest that's going to leave him slightly in no man's land, as he is rather separated from the rest of his team. And Totes has got an absolute idea where he is. So Faded in a difficult position, and unfortunately not able to get those picks. But it does give Team Arise something to think about.
Yeah, and he's really pinned here, Faded. He'll do well to stay alive. He does actually manage to grab a kill, and actually Saka helps him out as well. So good work there from Sak. Ezro is going to be there to take down one himself. He's still alive over in that corner, Faded. I've got no idea how he's alive. He's managed to work his way through that one really well. There might be another engagement here with Ezro up top, or spots TK there going on the pinch. The call-out's going to come through, and surely Jay Coates going to make the kill here. He did spot him run in, and he somehow managed to let him slip through. And TK, he got the second as well. Somehow, on God's earth, how on earth has he won that one? He's absolutely fried Jay Coates on that occasion, and potentially a big moment, especially in terms of morale, at least, Pablo, for the boys of Vitalized White.
Clip that for TK. What a kill. He goes in through the side door, absolutely bodies the player lying down prone, and then went prone. And then when he manages to get shots onto him from Jay Coates, he spins, turns, jumps, and absolutely bodies him. And right now, that has got to be a confidence builder. Vitalized White with a well-deserved win. Faded with the aggression out to the side, manages to stay alive with the support of Saka, and then TK with one of the best 2 pieces you're likely to see in an S&D today.
Yeah, I mean, when we saw Jay Coates kind of let him slip past, I thought, oh, he's going to get the kill here. And then he just kept running and managed to take out his teammate. I can't remember which one of the Team Arise lads it was. I think it might have been James, potentially. who was just laying prone. But to get the second one as well, absolutely outrageous stuff from TK. What a moment for him. And the boys have vitalised White, so next round is going to be attacking round here from Vitalised White. And Trevor straight through the door. Not going to be able to do anything about that one. He just runs straight into the bullets of James. But Saka, nice crisp shots with the AR once more from him. They've still got James lurking inside, and the stun is going to give them the information that he's in here. Now, how do they take the approach here? TK going to try and slide around the corner, but Totes is going to manage to drop him that time. So, unfortunately, runs out of his potential 9 lives on that occasion. The boys of Team Arise now 1 up here in terms of life count, and a difficult place for the bomb to be.
Man, Saka right now is just absolutely beaming. That AR just taking heads off kids at the drop of a hat. And right now, number 1, Coates is again just tied up in that position. You know he's waiting for that cross, and again we're just gonna wait for him to push. He's played so well so far, particularly over in the hard point, but right now just waiting to get off the mark. And here, Ezra, who's 2 and 1, has dropped, unfortunately, but it's a 3v2 in a moment for Team Arise to finally get on. And Saka just continues the onslaught with the AR. I don't think he can be stopped right now. You don't want to peek your head out for fear of losing it, but I think J Coates has got the measure. And again, we just see how difficult it is to clutch up on this Berlin and S&B.
Yeah, and J Coates makes no mistake about that one on that occasion. And Team Arise are going to tie it back up to 1 apiece here. So, pretty fairly even search and destroy so far between these two. Not really much to gather from the first 2 rounds, apart from Mr. DK has got the snapper out in this one. But the boys now of Vitalise White. See if they can manage to take another round after just dropping that one. And we'll see if they can manage to have a good solid hold on the defensive side. It's a map that we talk about all the time, isn't it, Billet and Pablo, where it's one of the more split in terms of you can kind of make A or B work. I suppose there's maybe a slight preference for B, but in comparison to the likes of Tuscan, which is incredibly one-sided, it's one of the more well-balanced searches.
Well, this is the most Cold War map there is. Let's be honest, it's a favourite of everyone's, despite its kind of, I mean, you could almost call it boring to an extent because it's so balanced. It's great for hardpoint, great for search. So, yeah, it's an interesting map in that sense, and it's great that they do use both bomb sites. It's a great jump shot there from TK, who did need to get off the mark. Actually, 3 and 1, it was Trevor who needs to get off the mark. But yeah, an awesome map for that. And that's going to be great shot to TK. Again with a 4 and 1, you would suggest if Trevor and Fader could actually, throw some weight into this game, the Vitalised White would be in a much stronger position. But a 2v2, and it's going to be Big James and J Coates against Saka and Trevor, and it is going to be James who falls, leaving another 1v2, and we know how difficult it is to clutch up in this map. And a lot of work for J Coates to do right now, who's 1 and 1.
Oh, Mr. Dane, what a man. Thank you very much for the raid, Dane. How are you, brother? So, looks as though that bomb is going to get diffused. Vitalised White going to take another round there. So J Coates not really much, unfortunately, he could have done on that one. Could have potentially peaked it a little bit sooner, but obviously the numbers not really in his favour on that one. So the boys of Vitalise looking better in this search and destroy here. Fade is still struggling at the moment, but they've taken 2 rounds. So a positive note for those boys now as they go back on the attacking side. And we'll see now whether they can take this attacking round here. So it looks as though Trevor going to be in charge of bomb. It's going to be another B push here. So we are yet to see a push over towards the A site. Vitalised White. They've got to be careful, though, because there's 2 players on the side of Team Arise, ready and waiting inside the site. But TK, ooh, hello, sniper. I know who I'm watching now from the start. He's going to manage to grab the first blood onto Ezra.
5 and 2, TK taking the sniper out and just bodying kids. And James with a nice big kill. Faded finally off the mark. And again, we did say if Trevor and Faded were able to get involved in the game at all, this would be an opportunity for Vitalised White to stretch it out even further. Totes last alive for Team Arise in this position, probably occurring a little too often for the team in red, who did have quite an amazing hardpoint, but it's just, what a way to end a round right there, to go 3-1 up. TK again with an absolutely awesome sniper and major. How were they thinking about GA in this quite awesome weapon?
Oh, mate, it just makes search and destroy so much more enjoyable. I know a lot of people tend to have preferences towards respawn, especially when I play. I do prefer hardpoint because I die a lot, so at least I get to come back and play. Whereas in search and destroy, it's like you're 1 life, you're sat in the bin, you're waiting for the next round. But really nice work there with the sniper from TK. So we'll see whether or not he can potentially grab a pick off the rip in this next round. It looks as though he's going to go in towards ACCL. He's going to put the sniper away, actually. So something that we don't necessarily see too much, where teams and players go between the snipers and the SMG round by round, as the shots were crisp from TK. So he is just going to confidently come off of it for the time being. We'll see now where this first blood is going to lie. It looks as though, again, it's going to be another B approach from the boys in pink. Team Arise. Where are they going to push from here? So Faded, first blood. Really nice work from him once again. So the boys of Arise, they're going to be down another life as well. He's got to be careful though, Faded, because there is a man just underneath him. There's a couple, in fact, as James is going to get some shots into him as well. Ezro just playing his life underneath, and they're only down 45 seconds now, the boys of Team Arise. So they've got to try and make something work here relatively quickly. And it looks as though they might be trying to wrap the bomb.
Faded, man, what a really nice performance. He gets a kill, and he does look like he's in trouble in mid. Manages to play his life and dip, which he hasn't been able to do in the previous rounds. And this is potentially going to give Vitalize White a great opportunity to play a really nice defensive round with Ezra and James now in this 2v4. And again, we talk about how difficult it is. And James, last alive, does need to get a pick, and this is going to give an opportunity to reposition and potentially get that bomb planted. He's got to do it quickly, though, because we do see Faded and Saka are reasonably close, and he's got a big job on his hands now. 1v3 against the Vitalized White team, who just completely rejuvenated from map 1. He's going to need to be a lot quicker on the accuracy than that, and he finally gets taken down. And Major, it's going to be a pretty easy bomb play for Vitalized White, and 4-1 lead is an admirable position to be in, considering just how difficult they made Bakaj Hardpoint look.
Yeah, and I'm glad, actually, our team is kind of following something we've said, and we're not just chatting utter waffle here, because Vitalized White, they kind of backed up what we said in terms of teams taking a respawn. Don't count your luck just yet, because obviously the search and destroy can be a bit of a switch, and that's exactly how it's gone so far. Vitalized White now 3 rounds clear. Faded almost got the ace there. Trevor just grabbing the final kill. So good work once more from Vitalized White, and now Team Arise going to need to try and work a bit of a comeback here. They are now back on the defensive side. We'll see what they can manage to pull together here in round number 6. Looks as though they're going to have a double stack over towards the B site, so this might get a bit mixy because there's a few players nearby. Barrels and nades going off alike, and Ezro's going to fall to the barrel. So Faded takes down James as well, and all of a sudden that B control is in Vitalized White's favour, and they are 2 lives up, Pablo, looking clean at the moment.
Absolute work again from Vitalized White. You know, they just played this S&D so well. And Faded on the killing spree. And we talked about him earlier on, Coates with an absolute beam on TK. But we talked about this earlier on. He was 0-3 and just not involved at the game, and then Faded from nowhere has just brought this back, and he's on a 5-speed, just playing absolutely, you know, out of his mind. A really good S&D performance from, you know, in particular in terms of a regain. So again, we look at this really difficult clutch that Jay Coates has found himself in again, and he manages to pick up that kind of effervescent Faded, and this is going to be a big moment with only 7 seconds on the chest. Vitalize. My days, if he gets that kill. Absolutely wild plays, Major.
Yeah, I thought for a second then he was going to get the final kills. Obviously, Vitalized White just playing it smart and playing time, but he almost managed to embarrass him a little bit there and almost managed to drop all 4 of them. Trevor is going to mop him up and grab that final kill. So nice work again. Vitalized Black 5-1 up. They lead now, and the boys of Team Arise, they need 5 rounds in a row without a response here from Vitalized White. And the way they are going at the moment, it is not looking as though it's going to be the easiest job. So now let's see where they decide to go on the offense here for what could potentially be their last round in map number 2. If you did miss map 1, guys, it finished 250 to 191 to Team Arise on the Bocage hardpoint. So Vitalized White, they do manage to get this extra round over the line. They will be tying up the series, and now towards the A site they go. Trevor is here. Surely this is a freebie. Trevor takes down 1. There's going to be another man in Ezro, and Trevor just rips his skull clean off. And now all of a sudden, Pabs, it's James last man up, 1 versus 4, and this is on the brink of Vitalized tying this one up.
Mate, you got to look to Trevor and Faded. They had such a slow start in this S&D, and then from nowhere they become almost the heroes of the round. We're going absolutely off. 5-3, 7-5, a 5 streak between them right now, and just absolutely dominated this S&D. And you would suggest, you know, if they were able to transfer this kind of energy and performance over to the control, this could be a hell of a series as we see Vitalized White. That is a slap of a performance right there for the Vitalized White team. And if you are indeed a Vitalized fan, this is a resurgent team that we're seeing right now. 6-1, Major. What a performance in Berlin.
I'll tell you what, if you wanted a response, you got one. Vitalized White, wow. 100%. In that round, or in that map, should I say, they did look pretty faultless. You can't really... Obviously, they only dropped the 1 round, so... If you're going by that standard, it's a very, very good map from those boys. And
man, they dropped that round. They had 2 players on Vitalized White who were both on a donut at the time. And that response, the response after dropping that round was immense from those 2 players. Yeah. You know, a full mid-game regain You know, they picked themselves back up, and that's what you want from your players. If they start off, 3 rounds in and they're not playing great, that is the performance you want. I mean, we saw it last night with Scumpy. It wasn't a great result for Optic in the end, but he was dropping, like, he was 0-6 and then came back from nowhere to bring his KD back, and that is the performance that you want. So just huge plays out of the Vitalized White boys. And man, this Tuscan Control could go anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the blank slate really for a lot of teams potentially. Obviously, they will be scrimming it, but the way things are going at the moment, it's not really a case of whether we can say 100% what team is going to benefit from it. We know kind of how mixy Tuscan can be, but after that one, to be fair, Pabs, I mean, take your pick, flip a coin, because Vitalize, wow, that was a solid response. And Team Arise now, they got to hit the regain in a respawn once again.
Yeah, I mean, Team Arise are definitely, we know they're capable in terms of respawn. We know that they've got great gun skill. We know they've got good cohesion. Their strategies are usually on point. But I mean, Vitalized White, that was a hell of a performance. That's not luck. They're a very good S&D team. They set up well, they executed well, they traded well. And when they weren't performing, they regained really well. So good S&D performance from them. Suggest it's back to the drawing board for Berlin S&D for Team Arise. But this control could go either way. Tuscan is a wild one as well. So, you would suggest maybe if you take the gun skill from the likes of Team Arise and how well they do on hardpoint, and just kind of how almost TDM heavy this Tuscan Control can be, they if you're the bookie, you're going to give them the slight advantage in odds. But I mean, let's be honest, Major, Vitalized White have just surprised us massively in that S&D.
Yeah, so guys, map number 3 is now underway. Vitalized White, they tie up the series here in Division 2, and for all you guys who do not know, this is a division game, so it's not the end of the world for whoever, unfortunately, will take the L in this one. And same for the follow. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. So, map number 3, one that we're not necessarily too familiar with in Tuscan Control. And James is going to be the lone man over towards the B site. It looks as though the boys of Vitalized White, they are really going to heavily flood that side of the map. And Trevor round the back. Oh, he's going to catch out a couple of players. He's going to take down one. They've got to be careful because Jay Coates could potentially take the man off the hill, and they do manage to do it. So it looks as though it might have potentially been a good start from Vitalized White, Pablo, but now all of a sudden Trevor's all on his lonesome in the back and he falls.
Yeah, Trevor just a little bit isolated there. He did have 2 players around him. They were both searching for him, and eventually he does drop. But that does leave the A site open to the boys from Vitalized White, and we know this can be, especially if you've got a decent AR. They throw Saka out to the left-hand side. They could potentially, get control of this A site very quickly. That's a very strong setup. Saka got them pinned down in church. He does need to play his life a little bit, and we do see Fader drop totes as well. So right now, really good. But number 6 around the back, Ezra looking to cause trouble. He does get a kill on TK, and James is going to drop Trevor, and that's a really nice push right at the end of that last tick over to A. So Vitalized White just going to have to wait that extra second if they're going to be able to take that A, and you can already see them flooding over towards B, and who's there but James on the 3 and 2 to try and cause a little bit of trouble. Prone with the big 2-piece. No, he's going to get dropped by Trevor, and nice kill, mate. And right now, mate, you would suggest that it's been a solid, if not kind of like spectacular defense from Team Arise, but Vitalized White are definitely here to play this time around.
Yeah, and this is the thing with Control, isn't it? It kind of becomes a tug of war for the teams, even if you don't necessarily get 1 point. If you can force the defensive side to just commit a lot of bodies over to the other side, which it looks as though Vitalized White have done, they then obviously get that subsequent free kind of couple of progressions and tick over towards A. So that's exactly what they've done now, and it looks as though Trevor is already over towards this B point. So we'll see how he potentially manages this one, because he's getting chased down by a lot of players. Toast is going to take him down. Ezra grabs a kill, and so too does Jay Coates. And now this is kind of the phase, isn't it, Pablo, where teams have to be careful with lives, because the boys have Vitalized White, although they've got that timer in an additional minute, they've now got to be careful because they're only down to 11.
Yeah, I think this is where you've got to really play this like a hard point. You need to get trades. You need to get, like, almost treat this be like a breach. So you need to trade effectively, get a team wipe, and then look to back up as soon as possible. And this is where it can get difficult. If you start to kind of play TDM, get this kind of like war of attrition that happens, I don't think it's going to play in the favour of Vitalized White, and already Team Arise practically, 2 KD in terms of the difference in lives right now, and it is indeed pushed over to that point. And Vitalized White just allowing themselves to get drawn into this pacey, aggressive battle, and it's probably not the game they wanted to play. It is a more difficult site, though. We've talked about this B site being incredibly difficult, mate. 5 lives, plays 11, advantage Team Arise.
Yeah, so now down to their last 4. They can't drop any more lives. No more respawns remaining now. for Vitalize White. Faded, got to go huge in the back. He's going to take one down, but they've only got 28 seconds left. Can he grab the second? No, J-Coach shuts the door right where he stands, and now it's going to be down to Sack and Trevor. And they managed to work something here. Nice shots from Sack to take down one, but now he gets traded out. Trevor, last man up. It's looking pretty bleak at the moment. Two players going to fly at him. James being one of them. Trevor takes down one. There's still a couple of players nearby, though. How many can he grab? He's not able to grab the second. And Team Arise going to take the first round, Pablo. Looking pretty solid on that one.
Yeah, you just got to look to J Coates and Ezra. They're just having a wild time. They're enjoying themselves on the map. They're both, 10 or more kills. They're playing very, very well. And again, it's about, potentially, if you're Vitalized White, do you look to sacrifice a few more kills or deaths to try and push and get that more difficult B hill, or do you just do what they did and try and push and get that A and try and get as many ticks over as possible? You can see already how aggressive the boys from Team Arise are, straight out onto the hill, looking to get as much control, using the stuns just to push those players back. When the flank is on, and it's obviously quite generic. It looks like both those players are set up between Ezra, Totes, and James. That's going to be a full team wipe there, and Team Arise doing very, very well. And that A control already looks like it's going to take over. It's very, very close, mate. You cannot fault that push to A site right there, and that's going to give them 2 minutes and 20 seconds to get that B zone, which they are already on.
Yeah, and Faded. This is a big gunfight. He can't grab the kill, so now TK needs to go huge on the hill. Takes down one. He knows Ezro's there as well. Spots him. Can't quite get the shots to come through just yet. As he does just shoot a couple of windies, and Ezro's still playing his life in the back. They've got to be careful now of the pinch from Toast. He's going to drop straight into the Vitalized White player's arms. Ezro, though, still alive in the back, and the life count already 6 in favour of Team Arise. Looking a bit of a tough position now for the boys. I almost said Duff, though. I'm thinking of Duff Beer from the old Simpsons. But now,
you thirsty there, Major?
Oh, mate, can you tell? It's been a long day. So now the boys of Team Arise, can they manage to get the right moment to strike here? There is going to be a glide bomb coming through, and I believe it's Ezro that's decided to throw it at Sack. He's not going to grab the kill, though. The flak jacket is going to spare him, but Coates grabs the kill, and now is he going to use this as the opportunity to push through? This is now potentially the best chance they've got to make this one happen. You can see at the moment the mid-map control from Vitalized White. They are still getting the kills, though, Pablo, so it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, you just saw really nice play over from Ezra and James again. Obviously, it's Ezra and J-Coat, so just a really nice play to get back control. They do need to maintain, and that's going to be a big kill, and Saka does really well to wipe that out because they pushed through Church, got some nice kills, and that's a team wipe right there. So Vitalize push right out and try and get as much back coverage. You would suggest they are very close to potentially spawning the team out behind them, and right now just maybe realizing that there is a flank on as they look to count those plays on Russian. And again, it's going to be 5 and 6 as Coates and Ezro look to try and get around the back and try and get this control of the B site from the more awkward end. Saka, though, isn't having none of it. That's a big kill right there. Vitalized White doing a great job to bring that scoreline in terms of kills, between to two only. That's a huge play right there from the boys in blue. And Major, you would suggest that this, this could default to a Vitalized White win if they're able to play and continue like this. Yeah,
the time is really getting away from Team Arise now. That life count that they had hasn't completely gone. They're only leading by 2. Toast knows there's one here. Faded is going to fall, and now this is where it gets dangerous. Team Arise, if they're aggressive enough, if they're quick enough, they might be able to make this one work. Saka, this is a really big gunfight. If he can get him off the hill, and he's going to do it. Really good work from Sack. Nice kill on the boys of Team Arise now. They're going to be spawning out. They're going to have to try and leg it and try and touch the hill here, because although they're leading by lives, they've got to frantically get over there to at least touch it for the time being. Trevor, there's going to be a few players underneath him. Faded takes down one. Faded takes down the second, and it's all falling apart now for Team Arise in this round. Faded with yet another kill. Yep, he's just chewed through them, and the boys of Vitalized White, they tie it up, Pabs.
Really nice. You've got to look to Vitalize White's performance towards the kind of, end of that round where they spread really deep into mid, got a really wide control. And what that gives them is, although they end up being outnumbered in certain positions, they've got the information, they get the spawns back in, they're able to kind of negotiate the positions, kind of like transition, and they're able to get picks again. And it just made it more and more difficult. You have this kind of concentric ring idea where you spread out, get killed, you get into the next position, which is a bit closer, and a great performance for Vitalized White to bring it back to 1-1, Major. And we did say if they could bring the momentum back from that S&D, that this could be a hell of a team, and it does look like they're finally firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, and talk about momentum, 11 in a row is pretty much as much momentum as you need for Vitalized White. combining between 3 of their players. James is on the flank, though. Might be able to cause an upset. Takes down 1. Looking for the second onto TK. Really good work from James. And a big couple of kills there for Team Arise as they just steady the ship ever so short of that 3rd tick at A. So really good work from Team Arise. It looks like they almost kind of gifted them the A point. They didn't send too many bodies right off the rip, but they pushed through mid, made it work, and they do manage to just recover what was remaining over towards that site. And James is still going huge over towards this side, over towards A. It looks as though the blue arrows on Vitalized White are going to try and work their way through. And now out the back, Faded with 1, Faded with 2, and now is that the green light they need to get on towards the point? Take your pick here, Vitalized White. They've got a couple to choose from. It looks as though they're going to just try and get this A point done. But Faded at the moment, he is being a real thorn in the side out the back, Pablo. He's just mopping up kills, and the life count for Team Arise is slowly starting to drop.
Yeah, and if there's a player who's had a resurgence in this series, it is indeed Faded. You would suggest Trevor still kind of struggling. You know, he was on the struggle bus a little bit towards the beginning of the S&D, managed to pick things up. So hopefully, if you are a Vitalized White fan, you will want to see him start to pick up a few kills in this. But Faded has been immense in this game so far, and picked up 22 and 18 with 4 ticks over. So just a great performance so far. Ooh. And right now, mate, they've got that 3-kill advantage. They've got the time, 1 minute 20, and you would suggest right now the way they're playing that they could potentially take this lead 2-1, and what a performance. Saka is on a 5-3 major and going off.
Yeah, this is exactly what they need from Sak now. 25 and 15, 10 clear, breaking even, and he's going to drop eventually. Totes is going to look to try and remove a few more players out the base, but Faded is still here. If he hits his flank quick enough, he might be able to take Totes out of this back milk truck here. And shots come through. Is going to finalise the kill, so now it's just a question again. It looks as though the boys have Vitalized White. They're just going to try and play lives more than anything. Ezro did manage to grab a kill onto Trevor here. Yep, so they take him down. It looks as though the glide bomb is going to come through. Isn't going to connect with anything, though, but it is going to pin a few players back. The Sak looking for more. Nice kills again from him, and more important ones as Team Arise get really close to that moment where they can't respawn any more players in, and Sak, no, not going to be able to win that one, so they will just about hold on here. And with 25 seconds left at the moment, Pablo, it's looking a bit dangerous here for Vitalized White, because again, although they've got the life advantage, they're running out of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Some big gunfights about to go down. We can see number 4 gets a huge kill. Faded does a great job, and they're going to have that opportunity to get on the hill, and they're going to need to drop the rest of the Team Arise. And Vitalized White with a really mature performance. You know, this is a different team that we saw in that Bocage hard point. You would suggest that, again, it's such an it's turned into the outlier map, because the rest of the game so far have been advantage Vitalized White. They're 2-1 up. They've got 2 players absolutely firing on all cylinders, consistently getting streaks between them, and it's been a solid performance. And you would suggest, Trevor can go big in this round, that they're gonna dominate this, and they could potentially go 2-1 up from a position that we would have not laughable, which is probably a bit harsh, but definitely would have probably been an odd thought to have, that they would be in position by this point.
Yeah, so now the boys of Team Arise, they're now backs against the walls here in this one, as Retix drops the follow. Thank you very much, buddy. And the boys now are Vitalized White, 1 round away from taking the lead in this series here. Ezra is going to try and push his way through P5. He is going to now work his way over towards the B point. The Saka, though, just lurking, and he's having a hell of a game at the moment, this Sak. 30 and 18 at the moment. Still hunting for more. James is going to get spotted up in top plat. Going to switch over to the preferred weapon of choice as well, just to try and take him down. Ezra will do well. Oh, never mind, the lamppost is going to save him from that potential nade on that occasion. Sak around the back he goes, but Ezra has absolutely none of it. And to be fair now, the boys of Team Arise, they're actually going to try and switch it up a little bit, Pablo. Go for the B point first, which is it's quite refreshing to see, actually. We tend to see a lot of teams almost butt their heads against the same brick wall over and over again, but they've decided to switch it up here, and they're making it work.
Yeah, and you take this more difficult B point, you go into, obviously it's a more contested kind of area over towards A, but it then levels the playing field. They know the kind of positions they're going to need to be taken up. It also makes it more aggressive and a little bit more close quarter. You don't have to worry about the elevation too much. No one's coming at you through a window. No one's top roping you. So definitely a good idea, but it is more difficult to take, and you can see, just how close in terms of the gunfights, and that's a great set of kills from Vitalized White. But again, it's still very, very close in terms of kills. That's 16 and 17, and only 2 ticks over towards B. So a lot of work to do, and Major, there's no time really on left to do it.
Yeah, so B point, 2 ticks are done. They didn't quite get the third. Vitalized do just about enough to hold on to it. And Faded still hunting for more. 4 in a row once again from him. 1 away from the glide bomb. He isn't going to have an engagement anytime soon, though. Just holding the angle, but James, meanwhile, is going to grab a kill for Team Arise. Can he grab the second? No, Trevor. The trades are looking clean and faded on the flank here. Never mind.
Trevor.
I thought he was going to grab another one there. Potentially grab his streak. Trevor is going to grab both instead. And now with 28 seconds left, this is looking really dangerous for Team Arise. Faded now, 5 streak for him. Glide bomb is ready to use as and when he decides to. And you can see the man in totes trying to go around the flank. They might be throwing the kitchen sink at this one potentially here now. Team Arise, they are running out of time. A glide bomb going to come through. Faded. He wants this done now. James, dead to rights on the hill. He is actually going to get a TK onto TK. Which is something I never thought I'd say. And is going to drop him. So now Trevor, again, this might be the pinch that ends the boys of Team Arise here. Takes down one, looking for the second onto Jay Coase and doesn't miss a bullet. Rips his head off once again. And now with 11 seconds left, it looks as though James is going to have to go huge on the hill. Trevor takes him down and the time is now ticking away. I think Team Arise have got to resign to the fact they are not going to get this done. And Vitalize White, Pablo, with that map win, they are now going to lead the series 2-1.
Man, talk about like big kills. We talk about Trevor needing to get into the game, and what does he do? He drops a 4-piece at the end to absolutely wrap the series, well, wrap the game up. And a huge plays by Trevor, but made faded. 36 and 26 with the support of Saka, who's been consistent right the way throughout. Vitalize White, man, they have turned the series on its head, and I think this is the first time we've seen this kind of position happen where the team's gone 1-up and then just slowly but surely just ebbed away, and Team Arise being made to look very, very kind of I don't know, just very not amateur but very normal. You know, they've been such a solid side throughout. They're being made to look like a very normal team by Vitalize White, and that is 2 big slaps, 6-1 and 3-1, and this is a big moment, and you know, Team Arise have really got to come good on a map they've just been absolutely destroyed on.
Yeah, and obviously our remaining 2 maps, as you can see, guys, are going to be Tuscan once again. So Vitalize is going to hold that close to the fact that they've just taken that one and they now lead the series. But that was something in that Bocage hardpoint, Pabs. We saw kind of the boys of Team Arise. They were slaying out really, really well. But when Vitalize Black actually managed to catch up a little bit and get the kills they needed to, obviously those rotations really started to come through for them. Obviously they gave themselves like quite a big battle to try and push through in that map 1, but map 2 and map 3, they've been pretty faultless from those lads. They didn't really look too uncomfortable at any moment, especially in that control.
Yeah, I mean, you just go back to map 1 and you would say that the team that ended, the Vitalized White team that ended that map 1 would probably have won if they'd started in the same manner. They started so slow that they just gave themselves too much of an uphill kind of mountain to climb. But then going into that S&D, that is a dominant S&D. Yeah. You know, it's crazy to think that, you know, it came down to quite an aggressive battle just to lose the 1 round they did. And then going into that control, that is mind-blowing performance. You're looking at like a team that really got, they pushed so heavy to get that 8 that they were able to give themselves 2 minutes 20 seconds to go and capture B, and then they absolutely dominated. Really interesting, you know, approaches. Did look like they had a couple of strategies as well. So, you know, when one didn't work, they were able to try and, you know, potentially they were looking to get control towards back B, or you know, however they went about it. But either way, you've got to look to the players, this particular Faden and Saka, who had, you know, absolutely awesome performance throughout that control. And again, just they've put themselves in the driving seat, and I would suggest that right now, while those players are firing on all cylinders, this is going to be a really difficult Tuscan for Team Arise.
Yeah, and boys now from Team Arise, after looking decent in map number 1, find themselves requiring the last 2 remaining maps if they are going to take the win in this Division 2 group fixture. So Vitalize White, to be fair to them, they have hit the regain, and they are 1 map away now from sweeping this one from under Team Arise. But to be fair, when we've seen these guys in respawn, Pablo, Team Arise, they are pretty damn good at hardpoint. From what we've seen anyways, we obviously haven't seen a huge amount of them, but they do have the slaying power. It's just a case of now trying to put themselves in a comfortable position in Tuscan and try and hold down those rotations, hold down those positions, which isn't necessarily the easiest thing to do on a Tuscan. But they're going to be really looking to try and cement themselves on this hardpoint, because again, they're going to be going, if they do push it towards the game 5, they're going into another search and destroy, and after the last one, they're going to be needing kind of all that momentum and good morale that they're going to need off this one.
Yeah, I mean, if you just said to either of us after game 1, you know, this is potentially going to a game 5, I think we would have been like, really? Didn't know Team Arise are looking strong. But right now, it wouldn't surprise me if we hit that game 5. I think, you know, obviously Team Arise want to win this, want to get themselves into that position and maybe prove that they are a capable S&D side. But right now, you ask me sometimes to plant a flag, and I'm going to have to say, I think Vitalize White, the way they're playing right now, their only player that isn't really firing on all cylinders, Trevor, and he just went on a 4 or 5 streak at the end of that control to see out the game. So if he's come to life and the rest of the team are firing on all cylinders, Team Arise have got an uphill struggle. So maybe it is Vitalize White ready to do the kind of mini reverse, but it wouldn't surprise me if we get that game 5, but at the same time, I think Vitalize White right now are just looking really, really strong. And it is time for Team Arise to rise to the challenges, such and have a huge regain, because they're going to need it. And you're right to say that they are very, very capable hardpoint side. So yeah, this could go either way, man. But I'm going to ask you, where are you placing your flag on this one, Major?
I think from what we've seen from Team Arise in hardpoint, and because Tuscan is pretty much a staple map, obviously the control isn't something that teams have had a huge amount of time to practice, and it did seem in phases that both teams were kind of just relying on sending somebody in a random position and trying to just push around, flank, pinch, rather than kind of a more structured approach to control. So the neutral of me, I'll go Team Arise just because I want the game 5. I'm greedy like that. So I think Team Arise will do well on this Tuscan. I think we casted it before, if I'm not mistaken, against FBG. Yeah, and they took that one 250 to 202, and we know FBG are a solid outfit as well. And a quick shout out to Joey for the follow. Thank you very much, mate. But yeah, I'm going to go Team Arise and hopefully a game 5, Pabs. That's where I'll stick in mine.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think it's a good shout. I think Team Arise have got enough in them, and I think they will regain. I think they've played enough teams now, and they've definitely got enough in the tank from Ezro through to James through to J Coates as well, that they're going to be able to have a solid performance in this. And obviously, we want to see it. We want to get to that game 5. I want to see a third Tuscan. We don't get 3 series like that in a row where it's the same map, so that would be legit. But yeah, huge map, and it's going to be really interesting to see how these teams approach this hard point, because Vitalize just kind of lost because of a poor intro. So yeah, hopefully these are going to come flying out the blocks, and it's going to be a much better performance from them. But yeah, interesting either way, Major.
Yeah, I mean, this is one now where game 5 is pending, and I don't want to jinx it, but we've had a fair few of the exciting series before, and this one does just have a little bit of a whiff of game 5, if you can say that. And the boys of Vitalize White, obviously they want to get this one done here. They're not going to want to push it out towards that game 5, but we are going to go in towards the hard point on Tuscan P1. We know it can be a bit of a messy one, and the boys of Team Arise are going to be on what is arguably the more preferred side from what we've seen a lot of teams approaching and the teams that they are picking. So it looks as though, Pablo, good early start from the boys of Team Arise, but it'll be interesting to see kind of how much of a lead they potentially manage to get here, the boys of Team Arise. I think if they come out flying here, which it looks as though they already have done, and get a big lead, it will be difficult to look past them.
Yeah, and you can already see them starting to think, even at 25 seconds, look at number 3, Ezro, already starting to think about, potentially getting the flank, repositioning in time to pick up that P2, and he's going to come all the way round back, absolutely flying at pace, and he's going to take that team by surprise. His team are going to get the spawns because of it, although number 5 is going to be there, Trevor, to try and mop up the players at the back. But a huge performance there from Ezra, and what a great start for Team Arise, giving themselves a really solid foundation, a good solid 35 seconds against 16 seconds, and James and Ezro just enjoying themselves. And this is the Arise that we're used to seeing, just being effortlessly accurate, just getting time and making it work for them. And again, as you pointed out earlier on, Tuscan being a staple of the hardpoint kind of scrim scene, that you would expect them to do very well, and they just look like a team in control. As I say, that Saka finally gets off the mark, faded 0-6 though, Major. What has happened? The most kind of back and forth performance that we've seen from a player in this week, definitely, but in a while.
Yeah, and this is where it's kind of like, when you look at the kills that, I mean, on this occasion, Vitalize White with TK, Trevor, and Saka, they're kind of just picking up the weight at the moment from Faded, but they've managed to get a huge chunk of time on that, considering how much of a struggle Faded has had to the start of this game, as he's currently now 0-8 as he gets taken down, just trying to push down that right-hand lane over through field. But now this is a really good opportunity here for Team Arise to hold a solid amount of time. It looks as though James is just going to be waiting for the inevitable push of blue arrows, and he's got a lot of work here. Shots into one. He knows there's another one here. They've got to be careful not to line up here, because he's going to take down one. Looks for the second as well. Shot's a little bit windy, but will manage to grab the second, will James. And Faded has actually managed to slip through, but again, his struggles continue. He gets taken down, and now Vitalize White, they're going to have to look to try and break their way through onto the next hill, but nice nade from TK to open it up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't even see the nade come across and just saw him disappear off the hill. I was like, what has just happened? But an absolutely well-placed nade onto the bonnet of Ezra. he does get dropped in the end. And what a performance, though. You know, James taking 3 players up to you know, 3 players to trade them out effectively. So that's going to give Team Arise that easy 15 seconds on what is usually a very difficult hill to get any real time on. They've done an absolute job so far, and so getting the rest of the scrap time. So you've got to say Team Arise doing very well on what is normally a really difficult hill. And right now they are firing on all cylinders. Ezra wanted 2-piece. Can he be stopped? He's going to pick up the AR just as a little backup, and again, just not being able to be stopped. Not oh, I thought he was going to get the third, but TK finally deals with him, and it is the boys in blue are going to break into church and be in a solid position for the first time, you know, potentially since that P2. So yeah, big performance from Vitalize White as they need to pick up but make faded. What is going on? Is he in the game? Has he gone to shops? Has his pet picked up the pad? What is happening to Faded in this game?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if Faded can just grab a kill at the moment, it feels as though this will pretty much be an even game. And shout out to Dogs and Gorilla as thank you very much for the follows, guys, as Faded finally gets 2 right off the mark, and it's a really good hold on this church so far from the boys of Vitalize White. It will still be Trevor left up alive, and you can see Jay Coates trying to look to make a couple of kills there. Nice work from Jay Coates, and this is big time here for Team Arise in the grander scheme of things with how close these 2 teams have been, because you can see his team already on the rotation. He's getting the scrap time, so this is pretty much a perfect situation here. Faded flies through, though. How many can he grab? And Faded, hello, he's picked up his pad now. Another couple of kills coming through for him, and they will be the first team to break through. But this is the approach, Pablo, that we talk about all the time. Having that bottom mid control can be so big, and it looks as though James has already identified that as he grabs 1 kill. But likewise, TK thinking the same.
Yeah, definitely, you know, they need these bottom steps in order to maintain control, because it's so easy to push through and get these kills on the transition. But yeah, great play by TK just to drop that, and Faded finally off the mark and contributing. He doesn't just get kills, but he's getting time. I guarantee that was the time when he's like, Mum, look how good I am. And she walks in and he's 0-12, and he's just like this shame face, but finally picks the pad up, gets the kills, getting on time, and Vitalize just tip over into the lead. And you know, it's no surprise that it's just as the whole team starts to pick up, and that bottom control, Major, as you pointed out, just vital to the control of this hill. It's probably one of my favorite hills in the game because of that kind of like the strategy that's required to do it, because it's not just about control. You know, you've got a couple of potential entry points you've got to deal with, so it is it's a very interesting hill to kind of deal with. And as we do push out to this next rotation, this P1 again is going to be just as interesting. The one that was obviously dominated from the rip by Team Mirage, as they did start on the better side, but now Vitalize White are firing on all cylinders, mate. As I say, that Ezra absolutely bodies Trevor and Faded. But yeah, it does look like Vitalize White have finally come to life, and thankfully a little quicker in this series than it was in the Car's Harpoon.
Yeah, they keep having spurts, Vitalize White, where they're racking up huge chunks of kills, and likewise are the boys of Team Arise here, because Ezra's now managed to stitch together 5 kills of his own. The glide bomb is now ready, looking for the 6th, and there you go, full streaks now for Ezra as he starts to come to life a little bit in this series. He's still got the player on the hill in Faded, so just doing his job on the objective at the moment, and he does manage to grab another couple of kills here, Faded. So again, punches in bunches from him as he's now 4 in a row. And that 10 seconds of scrap time for Vitalize White is going to be really, really important here, because again, they've got the rotation now. They've kind of done what Team Arise did over towards the P5. They've got the man soaking up the scrap time. They've got the players on the rotation as well, so they've kind of got their cake and they're eating it currently. And James, big couple of kills though, much needed ones as well. Trevor out the back, looks as though he's just going to retreat for the time being, but more players flooding through, and the boys of Team Arise now looking to try and make this hill potentially scrappy as they try and force out the remaining 2 players. But Faded comes to life once again, grabs a couple more kills, Pablo, and Vitalize White now in a really good position to push out this score over towards the 200-point mark.
Yeah, and you would suggest Faded is just slowly but surely starting to get a grip into this game. You know, if he's able to maintain the kind of play he has, as he drops J Coates, he does get traded out really nicely by Totes, but he's slowly but surely creeping to that kind of balance KD, and you would suspect that if he is able to start firing on all cylinders, this could be a different game. You know, Vitalize White doing well to keep this within about 35, 36 seconds, but right now Team Arise doing everything they can. They need to start turning these kills into solid time though, and that's going to be a really nice chunk of time left over towards that P2 hill. So as we walk into P2, number 8, Saka, you know, he's the kind of the silent player. We haven't talked about him a great deal, but he's had a massively solid performance for this Vitalized White side. You know, he's not flashy. He's not like, he puts up big numbers, but again, and he puts up solid time, but he does it in a kind of like very quiet way. So great performance from him so far, 16 and 17 in 34 seconds. TK, oddly enough, being one of the players who's had a really nice performance performance as well. But yeah, you just got to be worried if you are Team Arise that right now, if Faded starts to get into the ascendancy, this could be a difficult game to see out.
Yeah, and there's 3 for Toads, mopping up what remains on the point. Saka is still going to be lurking nearby. 25 seconds still remaining on this hill. Vitalize are not going to want to give away too much of it, and now they fly through again. TK, how many can he grab? Takes down one, takes down the second, can't quite spin onto Ezro on that occasion, so he's going to just leg it onto the hill and soak up what remains of that time. But now, Churchhold can Vitalize White do exactly what they did in the first set of rotations here. They held this hill really, really well, and a lot of their 194 current seconds was thanks to this hill. So J Coach around the back, only able to take down one. Faded again, looking efficient, and Vitalize White, they've got the setup here to stop the players pushing through. Number 3, Ezro, down the left-hand side he comes. This is a big gunfight against Faded. If he can shift him out of this position and potentially form a bit of a pinch here on Church, this is going to be the play that might save them a lot of time on this hill. Takes down Faded. There's still another man nearby. They've still got Saka, though, lurking outside the back. But meanwhile, inside the hill, James has won a really important gunfight just to even get inside Church. Saka's going to shut him down, though. Trevor is going to be nearby, and the reinforcement from Vitalize, Pablo, those close spawns are really paying off here, because Team Arise, as much as they're knocking on the door, they're not really doing just about enough to solidify their hold.
Yeah, and it's just been really, really difficult for them to push a couple of players out. They've got, 2 kills, 3 kills, but there's always been that one player in blue just causing absolute murder for them. They just haven't been able to challenge or get a contest in. They're finally going to get in, and that's probably going to give them, enough time to get within 10 seconds, and we're probably going to end up going over towards this P4 or P5, and it's going to be another really interesting play, and that's an interesting position that is taken up there by TK, and it's going to be a huge play by Coates as well. And again, this game couldn't be tighter, 223 to 209. Vitalize White's setup, but it's a very flimsy setup. There's only one player, and he's going to get dropped eventually as Ezro gets a huge kill. So Team Arise, man, they're in the ascendancy, and this is a really nice position. They push players out, and they have got this potential to get control of bottom and get control of front, and this is going to be a huge breach in this game from Vitalize White.
Yeah, this is a really big moment now for Vitalize White. Obviously, they've got to try and work their way into one of the hardest hills in the entire game. Saka going to fly through all, but the switch of weapons is going to pay off just about there. But Toads is going to be nearby for the trade, but Faded, important kill when you needed him to get one. James is going to be there once again, lurking down in low mid, and the boys of Vitalize, they've not managed to work their way in. They can't win off of this hill, Team Arise, but they can get incredibly close to doing so. The Vitalize White, 22 seconds are going to be needed. TK, he's investing the streaks. He knows the importance of this hill, and he's going to take down a teammate. That's going to be the worst case scenario, but Ezro's going to do exactly the same. He's going to grab a team kill as well, and Team Arise, though, they are going to get it done, Pablo, and we are going to game 5.
What did we see at the end of that game? TK, man, that is the curse of the glide comes in. There's just too much to think about. People are flapping and no composure whatsoever. And Team Arise, we said, they're a very quality side. And you've got to look potentially, Faded had such a slow start to that game. That is not the performance that we saw in Control or S&D. He did have a slow start in S&D, I guess, but not in Control. But that was such a slow start, man. You basically playing 3v4 for a large proportion of the first rotation of that map. And just huge. You got to take your hats up to Team Arise. Solid, disciplined, mature performance, regained, from what has basically been 2 absolute slaps in the face after the Berlin hardpoint and the Tuscan Control, and they're now going to go into an S&D on Tuscan. And I'll be honest, mate, they kind of they did Jekyll and Hyde on this map. I could not tell you which Team Arise is going to turn up on this search and destroy. Who is going to show up? Is it going to be Ezro not dropping bombs? Is he going to go huge? Who knows? Well, Faded's going to turn up. He had such a slow start to the search and destroy, and a slow start to this hard point. This game's wild, and no matter how we try and predict it, I think we end up eating a bowl of our own words, Major. And I'm going to say to you right now, man, where are you planting this flag? Because I am literally, my mind's blown.
Oh man, that's a tough question. I mean, that Berlin search and destroy was really comfortable. I think the bigger maps have definitely favoured the boys of Vitalize, but Tuscan at the moment, I don't know, it's hard to call, isn't it? I'm going to go with I'll go Team Arise. I think on the back of that one, I think that search by these guys' standards, I think was a bit of a blip. And I think they'll do a lot better on Tuscan search than they will on Berlin with those kind of more close quarters engagements in comparison to Berlin, because Berlin, there's a lot of opportunities for players to slip through certain lanes, and Tuscan is a bit more structured, I think, in that sense. So I'm going to go with Team Arise, but I'll happily be proven wrong, because regardless of who comes out on top of this one, it's been an absolute banger of a series.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so much to talk about. I mean, I would suggest there's a handful of players who've been very, very consistent throughout the whole series. Saka in particular for Vitalize, who just been really, really solid throughout the whole game. But Team Arise again, they've had players who've been really reasonably solid. But it's just who's going to turn up. This is the thing. Are we going to get that S&D faded, who started off so badly and went really strong towards the end, or are we going to get Bakaj Hardpoint? Trevor. I just don't know. If Vitalize White all turn up and Team Arise all turn up, this is going to be a 250 to 248 kind of performance potentially. So, we just seen they were wild across this map in control. So it's a tricky one, and I'm. If I had to put money on it, this would be a tough call, man. The bookies are going to have this nice and tight. This is going to fractions. So, yeah, I'm going to have to, if you're going to go with Team Arise, I'm going to plant my flag firmly with Vitalize White, and I'm going to suggest the Faded's going to come out the blocks, all guns flying, with solid support from Trevor, and we're going to see a Vitalize White win. It's still going to be close either way, and you're right, it doesn't really matter. Game 5 is always a joy to see on a Sunday evening.
Yeah, and obviously it's a joy for us, but as we know for org owners, as Mr. Jacko will know all too well now, probably shit in the bed just a little bit, but nervous times for the boys of Team Arise and their owner alike, but we'll see how they manage to get going in game number 5, which is going to be a Tuscan search for anyone who doesn't know. So we're just waiting on the guys to get it underway. I think everyone is pretty much ready to go. We'll just double check, make sure we haven't got everyone the right size. Yeah, we're good to go. So let me just...
I'm just going to have ginger.
Oh. Having a little nibble. You make me hungry, Pabs, right when we're going into game 5. We've got another series after this one as well.
It's good for the throat, honestly. It's good for the throat.
I mean, if this series is anything to go by, we might need a bit more ginger for the throat, because this has been a bit of a belter. Yeah, we are now loading into game 5. But yeah, I mean, for these two, the way it goes, you can you can go to William Hill and get odds for one team, and then you'll go to Bet365 and get odds on the other. The way these two are going.
No one's going to be able to call this effectively and be confident that it's going to go the way it's going to go. I'm sure if you're an org owner or a fan, you're going to be like, no, so-and-so is going to win. It's going to be this. But the performances across the board have been kind of very Jekyll and Hyde. They've been kind of juxtaposed against each other. So it's going to be super difficult to call. And you really got to look to the players who have been inconsistent. You've got to look to your Trevors and your Fadeds in particular. You've had wild performances in all the games. They've been amazing in some and being outright dreadful in others. And then they've got the same again to Team Arise, who would suggest have had more solid performances, but just not spectacular enough, and then particularly in the S&D, and this is going to be huge. And we see the aggression out the blocks from Team Arise, who just look to try and get as much map control as possible. It's going to be difficult though, and that's a big kill that really Ezro shouldn't be getting, and that's going to put a 2v2 as we head into the latter stages of this first round, and S&D on Tuscan, guys.
Yeah, and Bomb, a really awkward spot, and a quick shout out to Sammy Pete, and is it Erzy or Erzy? Easy. Thank you very much, buddy. Regardless, thank you very much for the follow. So now 2 versus 2. Ezro and James up against TK and Saka. Can they manage to work this attacking round here, Team Arise? TK going to be spotted. He's going to fall. Ezro takes him down. So now it's all on Sak. Can he manage to clutch up here in the opening round? Because potentially the way these two teams have been going in the series... Oh, sniper out. Hello. Whoa! And Ezro's head ripped clean off, and he's seen James as well on the bomb. He's actually going to go off the top rope. Sak, can he manage to make the play here? Round and round they go. Who's going to get the shots in? Saka's going to clutch up. Sniper and MP40 do the job, and Vitalize White take the first round.
That is wild plays there. I mean, I am mind blown. That snipe is a snipe for all times. Absolutely taking the kid out of fire, and then he's like, I'm just going to go full Shotzi from Cold War on you and just absolutely body the hell out of you around the truck. I mean, amazing plays from Saka, and we said, if there is one player in Vitalize White who's been consistent right the way throughout the series, it has been Saka. He's been absolutely awesome so far, and he's going to continue into round 2 of this S&T, man. That is mind-blowing performance right there.
That's the first round out of potentially what could be 11. So loads going down here. Ezro is actually going to grab an aid, and so too is J Codes. So they are demonstrating the importance of grenades on Tuscan. 2 really important kills, and all of a sudden Vitalize White now. They are down to half of the lives that they started off with. Trevor has been spotted in use. Surely he's dead to rights here. Going to get taken down. Yep. Oh, but there is a bit of a team kill here. So Faded's mission has just been made a little bit easier. He's going to run straight into J Codes, but J Codes makes no mistake about that one, and Team Arise going to grab the defuse and tie it back up with a fairly stable round, Pabs.
You got to speak about comms there, man. They knew both of them would have known where the player was. That would have been called out as he crossed between from bomb site towards that cubby in the corner, and it's just bad comms at the end of the day. With the TK, doesn't really need to happen, but a good performance from Team Horizon, mate. We call it. It's 1-1, and we could potentially see 11 rounds of this kind of aggression and madness. But right now, again, you can't put anything between them. Huge performance. So it's 0-1 right now, and you've got to be probably look to those two players we talked about at the start from Vitalize White, who clearly don't enjoy S&D that much. Faded and Trevor both on a donut right now. You would fear if they do get into the game that they might be able to get some control, but right now they're on the struggle bus or potentially heading to struggle bus territory.
Oh, now, what can Team Arise work on the attack here? Normally, Tuscan is a map where the attacking team tends to benefit more than the defensive. We'll see if Team Arise can manage to take this one, as both teams strong for their defensive side, but big kill. DK, first blood. It's a massive one as well, and James just around the corner. Trevor, is he going to get any sort of aim assist through that door, potentially? He's just waiting. James is lurking, and this next engagement is looking inevitable. TK with another big kill. He manages to grab yet another one. So now Team Arise, they are now down to 2 on this occasion. Trevor still holding patiently. Will it pay off for him? Yes, it will. James is dead to rights. So now all of a sudden, J Coates, last man up, needs the 1 versus 4.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult, and the timing is not going to be in his favour, as we do see Trevor is going to turn around and get that kill, having the good sense to try and get behind at the back of tiles, and a really nice performance. And we did suggest if Trevor and Faded got into the game that this could potentially run the way of Vitalize. And if you're a Team Arise fan right now, this is a worrying development, because let's not forget that it was a 6-1 performance in the first S&D. So right now we're just starting to see the boys in blue just start to come to the fore. And I would fear if Faded gets involved in this game very soon with 2 players on a 2 streak as well, this could very quickly run away from Team Arise. So this round, mate, I would suggest is very, very important for the team in red.
Yeah, and we're going to see some nades already. James right on towards the bomb site it goes. TK's actually going to get a kill right off the start with a nade. And nice shots from Trevor to grab another kill as well. So Vitalize White, this is what we saw in the Berlin. The momentum now is really shifting as Faded grabs yet another kill. And J Coates, all of a sudden, all of his team's gone. He's last man up, needs the 1 versus 4 once again.
Yeah, and you would suggest he's probably getting a little bit tilted. This is the second time he's been in this position, and Vitalize White just looked like a solid S&D side. And obviously, you've got to consider Faded's woke up. You know, did he just get that kill? Was that a Faded kill in the end? I think it was. And he's 2-2 now. You've got Trevor, who just looks like he's taking control of the game, who's absolutely gone off. Really big brain plays as well as he gets kills, patience as well to get those kills. And it's just been a hell of a performance from an S&D, and this is starting to run away from them very quickly. And TK again 5-2, so a great performance. You've got to look to those 2 players on Team Arise though. Totes and James really do need to get into the game a little bit more. Probably a little too reliant on Respawn to keep themselves kind of in series going, previously. But big moment right now is going to be Twitch. J Coates getting the bomb down, and this is going to be a huge round again. Otherwise, the difference between 3-1 and 4-1, albeit 1 round in actuality, is very different psychologically.
Yeah, and this could potentially be a make or break round here for Team Arise, because well, there's the first blood. Faded just rips Tote's head clean off, and now him and TK on a combined 6 streak, and TK grabs another kill in mid-map. So now J Coates again. At least he's got James with him on this occasion. But now they need to try and clutch up. Spots Saka in you, takes down 1. There's still going to be another man nearby in TK, but his teammate James is going to grab that kill. So now all of a sudden, it's all on Faded. He needs to defuse the bomb. He's not going to have any time to do it. So a really solid round here from the boys of Team Arise, Pablo. And as you mentioned, a really big needed round.
Yeah, and the other thing is Faded's got 4 there, and he's very close to getting streaks. So this is another thing that they've got to be concerned about. Team Arise do really, really well to get around on the board, and that's going to, build their confidence, especially since the problems they had over on the S&D in Berlin. But Faded, you would suggest, is now going to be thinking about streaks and the potential to control the map once he's got them. So it'd be interesting to see if anyone's going to bait for him, whether they're going to see if he can just get a kill with the AR over towards the left-hand side, which he is going to go and push down. But yeah, this is a big moment again for Team Arise, who could potentially find themselves in a disadvantaged position. But again, you're going to see these very accurate grenades go down, but it's a kill for Faded, and he has got 5 there. So there's going to be the glide in the back pocket, mate, and that is advantage to Vitalize White one more time.
Yeah, sorry, I was going aeroplane mode there. I got in the world of my own. I love the free cam, but wow, Vitalized Black, Vitalized White, apologies. What a round again. That is another big statement there. What looked as though it might be the boys of Vitalized White potentially slipping up a little bit. They've just came back with a round and absolutely clapped back in the faces of Team Arise. So again, more kills coming through, and I think Faded now has got that all-important 5th and potentially 6th kill. We'll just double-check to see if he has it. Oh, he's got 7. Never mind. Faded has just mopped the floor of Team Arise. 7 in a row. Both streaks now to work with. And yeah, this is looking really, really difficult now as we go into round number 7 here for Team Arise. So Totes struggling at the moment. If he doesn't get a kill and he drops guys in these last 2 potential remaining rounds here, which it could be, he is going to be in the secret agency in the 007, but Glide Bomb already going to come through from Faded. He's not messing around. He wants this done, and they, wow, okay, that literally folded in half in what felt like about 5 seconds there for the boys of Team Arise. Vitalized White are an absolute machine at the moment.
Mate, there's not even... Is there a discussion to be had about that round in terms of strategy? Because they just got their pick straight away from their positions and then got a glide to see it out. The game just ended in what, half a second? That was an absolutely insane performance, and Totes potentially about to go very embarrassed. And as we hit round 8, this has just been an absolute performance from Vitalized White, and again, just S&D machines. I mean, they've had such a, 3 maps that they've dominated heavily, and it's just a totally different Team Arise that we've seen so far, and that's going to be super aggression coming out of Ezra, eventually dropping Saka, and a big performance needed, and he's just slightly off, and J Coates is going to drop, so it's going to be 3 versus 3 major. This does look like a better performance from the boys from Team Arise, and this does normally happen at that kind of very precipice, but we do see Faded with a big kill, and it's going to be a 2v2 and major. I mean, again, we're in this position, where do you call it? But Vitalized looking very strong. Ezra with a big kill, and we see the first time TK in a 1v2 is Vitalized White potentially about to drop this round.
Oh, he's played this perfectly. He knows he's on the bomb. TK gets 1. TK gets the 2nd and puts the nail in the coffin of Team Arise. Vitalized White showing why Search and Destroy is so important. 2 huge kills there for Vitalized White at the end of it. And wow, what a map. What a series, Pablo. But Vitalized White, fair play to them. They clutched up right when they needed to.
TK with the double going off there. Absolute performance. Totes manages to save himself from the 007 and a huge performance. Vitalized White just look absolutely disgusting on S&D, and what a performance. I mean, just to take the 3 rounds off them was kind of a thing for Team Arise, but what a huge game, and you just... I mean, it's back to the drawing board to an extent for Team Arise. But I mean, they played so well on Bakars. The Tuscan hardpoint was really closely fought, so a lot to talk about there. But their S&D, man, just definitely needs work on. And Control, again, that was just a wild performance from the boys from Vitalized White. After that map 1, we were like solidly behind the idea that Team Arise were going to do so well, but alas, man, wasn't to be, and what a performance from Vitalized White. Mate, Vitalized as an org have got a solid set of rosters there.
Yeah, so take your pick. Vitalized Esports, Vitalized White, Vitalized Black. I mean, you name it. Every single roster seems to be able to do it, especially in Search and Destroy. That Vitalized White roster really looks good, and Mr. TK with the follow, thank you very much, and also Automatics and Scary with the follows as well. GG's in the chat, good to see. But yeah, really good series nonetheless. Obviously, Vitalized White, they came out on top in that one. They did manage to take it in that all-important 5th and final map. 6-2 and 6-1 on the Searches, 3-1 in the Control. And Team Arise, I suppose it's now kind of a case of back to the drawing board for the old Search and Destroy, because they did have positives in the respawns, Pablo, especially in the hard points. It was just a case of they just couldn't really get the Searches going, really, at any one stage.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that they've been a solid hardpoint side regardless. They've always done well, but we had this conversation the other day. We said that, this double hardpoint meta, no, there's 3 hardpoints, but the back-to-back hardpoint meta obviously favoured a certain set of sides, and that was always going to be the case. But it was always going to be the case that they were going to need to get better, mix things up, get used to Control, and we knew it was going to throw the cat among the pigeons, and we are starting to see that now. Zeppelin in the background celebrating hard at Vitalized win. But yeah, just... it's one of those things, people are going to have to get used to the idea now that there isn't 2 back-to-back hard points. As lovely it was for the big pub stompers and the slayers, you're going to need to now get these teams to be that bit more strategic and that bit much more controlled. And we're seeing that kind of split. And we know, obviously, you know, Jacko probably does need to start to think about maybe bringing in, you know, even a low-level coach just to say, like, you know, they need some strategy, because we know Vitalize right the way throughout have got a history of having, you know, that kind of advice and getting their teams up to a very high level of strategy. So, you know, it's all these little things that go up to make a great side. And we do say, I mean, I hate to reiterate it, I am the king of reiteration, but a lot of these games can be won and lost before you fire a gun. And I would suggest that the solid, you know, performance from S&D is definitely a highlight of Vitalize White, and really goes to show how good they are across the board.
Yeah, so big GG's there to both teams, and no worries, Jacko, anytime, mate, anytime. So well played there to Vitalize White. They are going to secure the dub. Team Arise, they are going to fall on that occasion, but I've got no doubt that roster will come back swinging next time. And if you guys did miss any of the maps, those are the replays of the series. We do have another series starting just after this one as well. We're just going to wait on the guys to lobby up and chuck us invites. It's going to be Incentive Rebellion up against Katana Pyro. So if you don't want to miss that one, stick around, because it will be coming straight after this one. I'll keep the clips just on loop for you guys, just to give you something to watch. But if you do want to grab a drink, grab some food, feel free to do it, as we should be lobbying up very, very shortly. But in the meantime, we'll be back with another Division 2 game just in a second, guys. Don't go anywhere.
If I could hold you just for a minute, what would you say? I should have told you from the beginning I couldn't stay. You've been hurting, but it ain't my fault. Ain't my fault. No, it ain't my fault. And I've been hoping you could break my fall. Baby, break my fall. What do I need to say? It's too late, turn back. I can stand your pain. Please go far, far away. What do I need to say? It's too late, turn back. I can stand your pain. Please go far, far away. If I could fix it just for a minute, baby, what would you do? My head is spinning, this isn't finished. Are you missing me too? You've been hurting, but it ain't my fault. too late, turn back. I can't stand your pain. Please go far, far away. What do I need to say? It's too late, turn back. I can't stand your pain. Please go far, far away. What do I need to say? It's too late, turn back. I can't stand your pain. Please go far, far away.
You are the shelter and love that covers me from my head down to my feet. Brought the only light in my darkest day. You are my run away. You are the shelter and love that covers me from my head down to my feet. Brought the only light in my darkest day. You are my run away.
Everything about you, about you, about you. Everything about you, about you, about you. Everything about you, everything about you, everything about you, about you, about you. Everything about you, about you, about you. Everything about you, about you, about you. Everything about you, everything about you, everything about you, about you, about you.
seems not to be, 100% on Vanguard. He's just working on his performance, but he had some big brain plays in the previous match, and just always a dangerous player. He's very smart in S&D, so yeah, we just expect to see, good things out of this team. But again, as much as I haven't cast hand splashes, Erics and Comzex in Vanguard, I think I was off that week sick. That I think, I've cast over them plenty of times in Cold War, and another solid, team. And I think Comzex and Hans would, off the top of my head, Comzex, Hans and Splashy have definitely played together previously. So this could be a solid team. And again, we could be looking at a, major. They've done it to us again. We've got the triple header right in the middle this time. We got to see it went right the way through all the maps previously, but you would suggest that again, this has potentially got the option to go to the big game 5. And I apologise if your stomach starts talking to us partway through the series.
That's all right. We'll get a third caster. My belly.
We have a fourth, really, because Zeppelin usually jumps in at some point.
Yeah, that's true. He's a big fan. Is Mr. Zeppelin. Yeah, so a big shout out to every new follower as well, Glove and Daddy Fana. Thank you very much for the follows, guys. So yeah, there's actually a slight change again. Paige isn't playing again, Pablo. So they've got I Suck. Not sure who that is, but I hope he doesn't. For his sake and his team's sake. So they do have another fill in Katana Pyro. And while I was actually introducing the series, me being a knob, didn't unmute our microphones. So that went well. But people can hear us now. But yeah, Incentive Rebellion up against Katana Pyro.
Did get our conversation about how greedy we are as people?
Yeah, literally.
Just talking about, all we do is talk about food.
Yeah.
That's it, literally. I blame Makwa completely for that, but it's literally all we do is talk about food. But you've got to love it when you get players in with names like I Suck, because if they go off, it just gives us that nice little segue into some beautiful commentary. That's what you want. You want these players with the kind of, the TK on TK before was just, you couldn't ask for better, really. He teed you up perfectly for that. So yeah, it gives us that good opportunity to say some wild things. But again, just looking forward to getting into some more Sunday evening COD. And we've got the kickoff classic just about to kick off, so it's quite a lot of
no pun intended
COD this evening. No.
Yeah, so Incentive Rebellion up against Katana Pyro, and because I had my microphone on mute and I was reading out the rosters, you guys wouldn't have heard them. So yeah, it's Dashi, Kaka, Jackson, and I Suck, who's filling in for Paige, and then that is that's the boys of Katana Pyro, by the way, and then the boys of Incentive Rebellion are Hands, Splashy, Comzex, and Sirens. And our maps for this evening, guys, again, we have another Triple Tuscan, courtesy of Control, where we only have 2 maps, and a lot of people don't like Gavutu, so unsurprisingly, we've got a sandwich with a filling of Triple Tuscan again, Pabs. So we're getting a lot of Tuscan practice at the moment, and so are the players.
I'm turning up to the next stream dressed as a Tuscan Raider, just no doubt, just absolutely gonna have the stick, gonna have the goggles, the whole thing, get myself one of the banters, and just I don't have to live like I'm a Tuscan. It's wild. But yeah, triple header, very popular, and obviously people just really, really desperately trying to avoid Gavutu at all costs. Even if it means we get to see more Bocage. But yeah, I don't mind. Tuscan's a great map, and it's provided us with some awesome highlights so far.
Yeah, and just a disclaimer as well, as chat's pointing out as well, Mr. Quiz Ollie's pointed out, I Suck is actually Jack Bags, so he doesn't suck. But I'm just going to call him Jack, or try to. It might slip through when we're panic reading names if it gets a little bit messy, that we might say I Suck gets a 5-piece or whatever it potentially could be. But corruption as well with the follow. Thank you very much, buddy. And Katana Heffy's done it again. 10 gifted subs. Mr. Heffy coming through with the love once again for his boys. Thank you so much, Heffy, man. We'll get a few of those. And a sue for Mr. Heffy if we can show him some love in the chat, guys. Thank you, Heffy, man. Well, an absolute legend, Pabs. I mean, you reiterate it all the time.
Yeah, man. The guys come in and just, you've got to look at the biggest org in Ireland. They've been going for an extremely long time in the life of what we know, that most orgs have come and go quite relatively quickly. And he's done a great job. And they actually, Call of Duty probably isn't their main focus anymore. They've got a really strong Halo outfit. They've got a really strong Apex tournament outfit, headed up there by Widow Warfare. So just a solid org from top to bottom. And they've got really nice guys over there as well. So yeah, it was nice to catch up with Irene and Gabba the other day as well. So yeah, they've got they're solid orgs. So yeah, it's a staple of the COD AM scene to have a Katana team in there. So big up the big Hef as well. So you just got to give a big shout out. He's always there to support, not just the teams but the community as a whole. So yeah, nice work.
Yeah, and I think as well, when you think of like the kind of the bigger of the amateur orgs, like the likes of Skelp, you think Katana as well up in there. Obviously Skelp are kind of a level of their own in terms of they've got the whole of Scotland on their back, but Katana as well, a huge following that the boys over there have managed to build up, and it's not an easy thing to do. We see a lot of orgs come and go, so to build up the following that Katana have done is credit where it's due. It's not an easy thing to do, and it goes to show how much effort we say the likes of Heffy put in every single day to keep the org floating, and also to give players an org to play under, and obviously sponsor certain players and see them develop within the org as well.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to look. I mean, off the top of my head, you've got to look to the likes of Vitalize, the likes of Scalp, the likes of Katana, the likes of Real Game, and they when you first start out as a caster, when you cast one of those games, your numbers go from 20 viewers one day, then the next day, your Scalp raid with 112 viewers, and your brain falls out and you forget how to speak for a few seconds. But
yeah,
they're always there with really good support, and it's those kind of orgs that drive the scene entirely, and they're the guys that are consistently paying to be in leagues like the CCL, like the ACCL, like the MCA. So I mean, it's a great community effort across the board, and we get the fun of being their faces and the mouthpieces for a lot of these guys. So we don't forget that ultimately, as much as we are our own kind of brand and our own individuals, that we tend to be the face and voice of some of these orgs when they're playing. So it's a massive thank you to these guys for giving us the chance and then supporting us in the background as well. So yeah, hats off.
Yeah, so a huge shout out again to Mr. Heffy. Thank you very much, brother. And in towards map number 1 we go. We'll see whether his boys of Katana Pyro can manage to get something going here. They don't have the fill-in in J this time. They've got Mr. Jack Bags, who I believe they have been playing with a lot more frequently, so you would expect them to do a lot better in that sense of things. But Hands, really nice work. This Incentive Rebellion roster is nothing to be scoffed at with the ability they've got. We've seen the likes of Hands and Splashy and those lads do very well against some really solid sides here, so we could be up with a bit of a back and forth again, Pabs. I know we call it quite a lot, but it's another one where in Division 2 we're looking at the rosters and we're like, geez, take your pick. It could potentially go either way here.
Yeah, absolutely. It does look like the slaying is just slightly going towards the guys at Katana Pyro right now, but P1's going to be a challenged hill. We know it's going to remain reasonably contested. Katana doing well to take the time they have on it, but already it's going to be that transition to P2. We can see number 5 there, Hands, trying to use those big brains to try and get into position. He does win both those gunfights, and that's a huge moment for Incentive Rebellion, who did need to try and get some time, and this is a big opportunity for them to do it, and they're going to mix it up over towards Barn, and that's a great kill as well, as we see Comzex drops Jackson. So a great break, and not just that, they've done well to hold, and they're getting the trades as well, Major. So Incentive Rebellion, you're not here to make up the numbers, playing really well, and across the board, getting kills. Flashy, you would say, probably needs to get involved in the game a bit more, but once he does start frying, I think this is Incentive Rebellion team are going to catch up to Katana very soon, as we do head potentially into P3.
Yeah, and the last time we casted Katana, I believe it was Jackson and Dashi that were putting up really big numbers on the Bocage, if I'm not mistaken. So they're going to be looking over towards those lads again to be putting up some big numbers, and we know what they can do with the assault rifle in hand, as Dashi has just politely demonstrated for us, making me feel very proud of what I've just said, as he manages to, for once, not make me eat my words, which is a nice pleasant change. But nice work there from Dashi nonetheless. But the boys of Katana Pyro now looking to push out a little bit of a lead here over in Grandma. Splashy on the flank. Nice shots into Jackson. Takes down one. It looks as though they are going to get in towards the initial time. Oh, and I thought he was going to get the second as well, Splashy. But Mr. Kakakod, a man who we flagged up multiple times, Pabs, that when he's on the top of his game, he's very difficult to stop.
Yeah, man, he's a rack up big numbers. He's great in streaks. He's a very clever S&D player. This is the kind of player you want going absolutely off. It's no surprise that he's very close to being the kill leader. Comzex just potentially just pipping him to the post a little bit there, but 9-7, he's doing very well. Comzex on a 10-6, he does drop. But yeah, you want Kaka to be playing, at the absolute peak of his game. Jack Bags coming in with a 9-8 as well. So, and a solid 24 seconds. It's going to give them that 20-second cushion right now. But good plays by Katana Pyro. But I would suggest this has been very back and forth in this game again, because Oh, Major, don't feel too bad. Bakaj makes everyone eat their words at some
Yeah.
point, so there's nothing you can do about that. But right now, solid performance from both sides, and mate, only 10 seconds in it as we get the kind of latter stages of the first rotation.
Yeah, so shots coming through from Kaka. Not going to collide with a kill on that occasion. And Incentive Rebellion have reduced that lead that Katana Pyro pushed out just a little bit. They are spawning at the backside of Barn here. And Dashi looking to try and on a potential bit of a roll here with some shots. He's going to spot Comzex and doesn't make any mistake about the shots on that occasion. But Splashy is just keeping his head down inside the hill. Just playing his life well at the moment. The contest is going to come through, unfortunately, for him on that occasion. Isn't going to check the right side of the bottom of Barn, and Jackson comes through with a couple of kills just to mop up. So important scrap time going in the favour of Katana Pyro. But it's just now a case, Pablo, it's something we talk about all the time. It's all about that rotation, but is again on Bocage, it's one where you can have the rotation, but it can also quickly just slip away from you if you don't get the important kills.
Yeah, and you can see this, you know, people looking to get set up, players looking to get set up, but this massive gunfight goes down in like bottom grannies, and that's insane that they're not, you know, they're trying to get the kills, trying to get set up, but who's there? Super patient, Comzex 13-8, waiting at the back, waiting to get set up for anyone pushing through to the hill, but also, you know, maintaining the fact that his team Incentive Rebellion are able to get spawns. That's a really big kill, and you see the traded out. Dashi does manage to drop hands, but Comzex again with 2 big kills and having an absolutely steaming game so far. And you know, if they're able to take a large chunk of time on this hill, they're potentially about to see this game flip on its head. And Bakaj again provides us with this this surprise all the time. You know, you can never really truly call it when you have teams who are reasonably well matched. And right now, slaying across the board is very, very similar. And time across the board, you know, you can barely put paper between them. And it does look like Katana Pyro just going to get the remaining time and look to try and get set up for another scrappy P1 in this second rotation.
Yeah, and Dashi got a really important kill there onto Comzex, who was just one away from the glide bomb. So he does steady the ship, and there is nothing really separating these two at the moment as we go back again over towards the infamous scrappy P1. So Jack looking for a couple of kills, and nice work there by Jack, ironically his name being Ice Suck in this occasion, but a nice couple of kills coming through from him. And already you can see the aggression just trying to push out this bottom granny side, and this really working out for him here as he manages to get 3 in quick succession now. And the boys of Incentive Rebellion, they have now spawned out the back of P2, and potentially all the more important thing going to be in their favour, at least for the time being. But Jack really going strong at the moment, 4 in a row, just playing it patiently. Still one away from streaks, looking to try and get the guy top barn, and he manages to do it. Jack, really good work here. Can he manage to get any more? Not on that occasion. And the Incentive Rebellion, they at least stop him from pushing through Pablo, and more importantly, they have the rotation for P2.
Man, you know, as a colour caster, you're supposed to sit and watch the strategy and try not to get too involved in the kind of minute interactions of the game. But Jack absolutely goes off. He meanders through the map, complete control of lower grannies, pushes through barn unhindered, gets kill after kill after kill, and definitely not sucking at all. Absolute plays by him. But yeah, really nice break initially from Incentive Rebellion. Did have control of P2, but Katana Pyro just get control, and it's no wonder when they've got players like Jack going off 21 and 16 and overtaking Comzex as the kill leader in the game. And not just that, but they've been able to turn that into solid time with Comzex looking to make that comeback, looking to try and get some control. The board's backed in. That's a massive fight that goes down, and Dashi manages to do what he needs to do over the 10, and that's going to retain control for the Katana boys in red. But their big kills as Jack just continues this domination of the map, and man, he is taking this entire map by the scruff of the neck, Major, and he is completely controlling it.
Yeah, he's just got this free roaming role at the moment, it feels like, Jack, and it's really paying off for him. As assault rifle players are looking over the top of him, he's just working his way in and out of various lanes, and Bocage, with the pace of this map, it is just allowing him perfectly to slip through and grab kills. And there's another one for him, 24 and 17 now at the moment. Is Jack looking to rack up some more, is going to fly in towards bottom grannies, but is he going to... Oh, he just spins onto Splashy, makes him pay for missing even just a couple of shots as he finally falls. But really good work once again from the boys of Katana Pyro, and Kaka now on a 4 streak. And this is where this roster becomes a bit dangerous, Pablo, because all 4 players on this team just have the ability to pop off at any one moment, and they're showing it here again. They're just splitting the load between them. Jackson, in previous games, we've seen him have really big ones. He's just putting his feet up at the moment, and his boys are just doing all the work around him.
Well, this is the thing as well. You've just got to consider Kaka's on a 6, and you can tell he wants to see how far he can take the streak. He's dipping, he's getting a kill, he's dipping again. He is completely playing his life, and now he is just allowed to free roam. Unfortunately, he is going to miss out on that. It's going to be another easy kill for him. They know where he is, but can they do anything about it? No,
Jesus.
they can't. It's going to be kill after kill. Finally dealt with by Splashy, but Kaka, ends up on a 7 or 8 streak, and that's a huge thing. And 207 to 120. I would suggest Kaka probably doesn't even need to bring in his streaks, because Katana Pyro have got complete control. Dashi now on a 5 spree,
Oh my days.
Incentive Rebellion have just kind of fell off towards the end, and the Katana boys have taken complete control of Bokage, which is, something. You look at that scoreline, man, 100 seconds to separate the teams, and that is not something you see on a map like this very often.
Yeah, and they were literally, I think they were tied at about 103 points each. And Incentive Rebellion in that time have got 17, and Katana Pyro have managed to accumulate about 130. So that says absolutely everything about these boys. They are really kicking into gear now. They are locking everything down, and they can't win off the hill, but my goodness, they can get so incredibly close. It looks as though Sirens is going to have to go huge on the flank here. He's got to at least contest it. There's one onto Dashi. There's still another gunfight going down, and nice kills from Sirens. Able to steady the ship, but now the streaks are coming through. Are they going to manage to hold off the boys of Katana Pyro long enough? It will go over towards the hill, over towards this all-important P5 now, but now where's it going to go down? Jackson with one, going to spin.
No!
Oh my god, I thought he was going to absolutely violate Comzex there in that occasion, but he does just about grab the kill, and old Kaka. Bit of a windy one there, but with the amount of time that they need now, Pablo, it's looking like the boys of Incentive Rebellion, they are going to need pretty much the perfect game of COD to see this one out.
And I'll be honest, with the way Kaka Cod and Jack Bags and Jackson are playing like that, it's not going to happen. Honestly, if Jackson gets that kill on Comzex puts the pad down, goes to bed, retires from Call of Duty, because he nearly got absolutely spat on. But yeah, but there's so very little time remaining for Katana Pyro. I think Incentive Rebellion have got to play Call of Duty that they've never played before, and probably never will be able to. Right now, it is gone absolutely off.
Oh no.
You see hands dive into the massive Kaka Cod, goes off on a 2-piece, and one person just needs to touch the kill with 3 seconds remaining. Is he going to be able to do it? It's big defense by Dashi, and we're going to go down to this P1 third rotation again, and they get the kills. Dashi, though, finally going to get on a kill, and that's going to be Katana Pyro with a very well-deserved win with a very scrappy end of Major.
Yeah, they really grabbed that middle stage of that hard point, Katana Pyro. They did not lose any grip on kills. They were just roaming around the maps, really slaying the boys of Incentive Rebellion. They put them to the sword, and they made it count. Look, 3 players, over 30 kills, and a really good map 1 from those lads. Pablo puts some 1-0 up, looking strong with Jack back in the team.
Man, you're looking at like 73 non-traded kills in that map from Katana Pyro. That middle section was so dominant. They strung like 3 hills, maybe 2.5 hills together without really any impedance from the other boys, from the other team, and what a performance right there. And Kaka just looks to be getting to grips with Vanguard, and supported by the other 2 players, 34 and 35 kills, just a dominant performance right there. But that statistic right there, 74 non-traded kills is crazy. 73 maybe is absolutely wild. You can't afford as a team to be that incoherent and not have that kind of chemistry. You need to be working together so much more effectively, and it came down to those 2 players in Jack Bags and Kaka just given that free roam and just allowed to go and cause absolute havoc towards Lower Grannies and Barn over and over again. How often did they go and get 4 and 5 streaks is just, it's insane.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting now to see whether they can transition that into the Search and Destroy, because we saw it in the previous series. You can never really count a series based on map 1, especially when it goes from the likes of Bokage in towards, albeit a slightly faster paced Search and Destroy in Tuscan, but still obviously nowhere near as fast as a Bokage. So the boys of Incentive Rebellion are going to be looking to try and tie up the series, and we are jumping straight in towards map number 2, so Tuscan Search. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see as well, Pabs, now whether this team on Katana Pyro can kind of match what they've done on the respawn and almost translate it over to the Search and Destroy, because if they can do that, there'll be a bit of a roster not to be messed with in Division 2 at least, because this Incentive Rebellion are no pushovers by any means.
Yeah, absolutely. If Katana Pyro can perform in S&D like they've just done, and obviously they need to transfer that to Control as well, but if they can do that, then they are going to be a very, very difficult team to deal with. we already know they've got a solid base in terms of that slaying power. They seem very coherent. They seem to trade well effectively, so they're also working quite nicely as a team. I know Kaka is just a really good team player. He seems to blend with any team he joins. But yeah, this is going to be a big moment. In Sense of Rebellion really do need to try and take advantage. In Comsex, obviously trying to do his best and continuing that kind of play. And that's going to be a big moment. Comsex last alive though in a 1v2. And if there's one player potentially you would feel who could get it clutch, it is going to be Comsex, 1 kill away from potentially surprising everyone and taking this round for Incentive Rebellion.
Yeah, one kill away from the ace here as well as Comzex, so we'll keep an eye if he can get it. It looks like he's going to clash with Kaka any second. Or did Kaka spot him? Not sure whether Comzex spotted him, you know. We spotted him now, though. Kaka just lurking upstairs in P5. When is he going to strike? Looks as though they're just going to move away from each other for the temporary moment. Kaka's still got to get the bomb down. And he's running out of time to do it now. 27 seconds left on the clock. And I'll tell you what, Comzex, if he checks this at the right second, this might be perfect here for him.
Oh, he's turned away.
Oh, the timing on that.
No,
Kaka
he
is
knows
sticking
he's
the
there.
bomb. I think he's going for it. I think he's heard it. He knows it's there. Oh, Kaka does the go. Oh, no. I thought he'd done just enough to get that one done. But fair enough. There's the ace. Round number 1. And Incentive Rebellion coming back with a bang in the first round, Pabs.
Yeah, Comzex, we did say if there is one player that could potentially get that clutch and obviously do even more than that and get all the kills in the game. Comzex continuing that energy from the Bakaj hardpoint and just playing really, really well. If he can't do this alone, he really is going to need the support of the rest of the team. You look at that Katana Pyro squad, 1 kill for each player with the exception of Jack Bags, who is the pickup. So that isn't like, no offense to him, but it is obviously a much more difficult job to just dive into a team. But 4-0 it's a great performance from Comsex, but its Sense of Rebellion really do need to consider, they need to get everyone firing on all cylinders in this S&D as soon as possible.
Yeah, and Comzex another really big kill. First blood goes in his favour. Big gunfight going down over towards that P5, and Hans is able to win it. Jackson is going to reply with 1 kill. And the last series we cast, Jackson had some absolute blinders of maps here. They're going to need some more moments of glory from him here. See if he can manage to work it. Dashi going up top should have a free pick, and he does. So he's actually sticking the bomb here. And I'll tell you what, I don't think Hans knows he's on this, and he's going to actually keep his teammate alive, and they're going to get the defuse. Really big brain stuff there from Katana Pyro, Pablo. Dashi doing a really good job of just giving him the shout, get the bomb defuse, and I'll keep an eye on you.
Yeah, I mean, he's taken a gamble there that the player's going to be peeking from top broken and top fire, and he's it's a standard place to kind of watch that B bomb site from. So he's done a good job, and it's been a really good kill, and that is exactly what we talked about before. These traded kills that Katana Pyro get all the time, and we did talk about the fact that Comzex can't carry Incentive Rebellion on their back. Every game it would be an amazing performance if he was to go 4-piece, but yeah, the Incentive Rebellion do need to just kind of up their IQ a little bit and maybe just start to play a little bit more cautiously. They're very aggressive right now, and Comzex trying to do everything on his own. So kind of Pyro looking very, very good for the money at the minute. And again, Comzex just unerring accuracy. He's got such a good shot on him. And again, man, what a performance. 7-0 major. And we're only in round 3.
Yeah, he is absolutely fire, is Comzex at the moment. Still hasn't been dropped. See if he can manage to push it out even further, because again, the bomb, I believe, was in the hands of Jack there, where he just dropped. Is going to be a really difficult one to retrieve now. Can Kaka work his way down low? No, he can't. Splashy watching the lane is going to mop him up, so now it's all on Mr. Daesh. Can he manage to work something here? 1 versus 3 by his ability isn't impossible. Did he spot Comzex on the outer pillar? I think he did. Likewise, though, did Comzex, so he's going to go for the chow here. Dashi off the top he goes. Tags him up a little bit. Splashy going to look to try and help out his teammate here. And he spots the second in Splashy. Oh, but Splashy, good shots. Doesn't miss. An Incentive Rebellion going to take another round.
Comzex, man, just trying to play his life. You see him prone, he's half height, he's around the pillar, and I think he was just hoping Splashy could get the kill, and I think he wanted to try and keep his streak going as long as possible. But what a hell of a performance out of him so far, and he's been an absolute thorn in the side of Katana Pyro. You would suspect if Comzex doesn't continue playing in this form, this could be a tricky S&D for Incentive Rebellion. But right now they're doing everything possible. If Sirens could get into the game a bit more, this could be a completely different vibe to the S&D. I think they could probably take this even further. Katana Pyro definitely not as comfortable in S&D right now, and we do see Jack Bags get an important first blood, and we know major how vital first bloods are in S&D, and particularly on these larger maps. So big kills go down, but Siren's finally off the mark, mate, and that could be a good sign for Incentive Rebellion.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a good thing they've dropped Comzex because at the moment he's been the one that's been racking up all the kills. But nice work. The bomb is now going down here. Dashi going to probably be forced to reposition any second now. It looks as though Jackson is going to just slowly edge his way around this right-hand side, but Splashy has just got him straight down the barrel. Really good work, though, to slide across Jackson, but his teammate in Dashi is going to get picked up in you. So now, can the trades come through? Looks as though number one, Kaka's actually going to slip through here into you. He takes down one. There's going to be another one in Sirens. Can't manage to get the second. And now with 20 seconds on the clock, he needs to be quick here, Jackson. And he needs to trying to get a shift on because with 15 seconds left and a bomb defuse to go with it, I don't think he's going to be able to. But nice shots, though, to take down Sirens, at least in the grander scheme of things. But you can see Hans, he's just playing this smart. He knows he's got the timer. Jackson trying to make the read, or not going to quite be able to grab the kill or the round, Pablo. So Incentive Rebellion now 2 rounds to the good.
Yeah, frustration for Jackson towards the end. Unfortunately, not able to get the pick over towards top fire, so a problem for him. But Incentive Rebellion just looking like a completely different side in S&D, and this is almost being a parallel performance to the first game that we cast earlier on, where we saw, a dominant performance in the Bakaj, and then just things just completely turn on the head. So Incentive Rebellion playing well, but not just that. We see Sirens and Splashy start to contribute that bit more. Hands maybe still, potentially on the struggle bus, but I think he'd be able to get a kill. He could put Katana Pyro to the sword, very, very quickly. You can't write these off, though, across the board. Very even kills. Dashi playing very, very well. You would suspect if they just play with a little bit more caution and less aggression, the Katana Pyro would probably be able to make a good fist of the rest of this game. And again, Jackson going off, and another big kill as he drops Silence. But again, he does need to drop this erringly accurate Comsex, and this is going to be a big fight right now. Comsex just unstoppable right now, though. He's 8-2, man. He just doesn't seem to miss.
Yeah, he seems to be winning every single individual gunfight. Oh, there you go. I knew that was going to happen. It's always a case with me. It always happens. I jinxed it. I do apologise, Comzex. I should have just shut up.
Man.
I should just shut up.
I set that up and left you. I knew it was going to happen.
I should just shut up and let him do his thing. He is unfortunately going to fall on that occasion. Hans is going for a really quick flank here onto Dashi, so he's going to get a free pick onto him. So now 2 versus 2, but the bomb down. It's not looking as though they're not going to be able to get there in time. Incentive Rebellion. It looks as though Kaka is going to pick up one, and Splashy is also going to try and pick up a few pieces. But a much needed round there for Katana Pyro, Pablo, because Incentive, we're starting to run away a little bit with that one.
Yeah, and again, though, I think the problem is that they've been so reliant on Comsex that I just think if he gets dropped early on, or he isn't involved in the match until the round, specifically until later in the game, that it is a problem for Incentive Rebellion. Because right now, Katana are looking solid across the board. If Jack Bags could get involved a bit more, and this is a worrying turn of events. I think if Katana Pyro take this round, the confidence could be drained from Incentive Rebellion. Because right now, I don't think Comsex has had a kill in the last 2 rounds. So this is a big moment right now. Jackson really needs to go toe-to-toe again with Comsex as well, and just try and get a little bit of dominance in the map, because right now Comsex is utilizing this really, really well. Splashy with a big kill to Dashi, and it is going to be Jack Bags with the trade. So good performance so far, but it is going to be 3v3 in Sirens with the bomb major.
Yeah, so Comzex has now used 1 out of the 2 streaks. Yeah, so glide bomb done. He's still got the strafing run as and when he decides to use it, but bomb will go down now for Incentive Rebellion, and we saw previously how difficult it can be to retake this A bomb site. There's so many corners to check, and especially over towards that infamous U section. There might be a free kill though for Hans. He knows one's underneath him. Kaka checks up above, but can't do enough to grab the kill. So now it's all on Jackson. 1 versus 2. 25 seconds left on the clock, and he's got to be careful here. I think he's going to get killed. Comzex spots him. Shots a little bit shaky on that occasion by his standards, but he manages to mop Jackson up nonetheless. And another round for Incentive Rebellion. They are looking good on the offensive round, Pabs. We've seen it a few times now where they get the bomb down, and it's almost like the boys of Katana don't really know how to budge them.
Yeah, they don't seem to really be able to. They've not been able to break once bombs down, and equally they don't seem to have been able to get control of bomb site quite effectively. And when they have got aggressive and they've mixed things up, that's when they've been more successful. Right now, you would suggest that Katana Pyro just don't really have a plan B. when it comes to it. Obviously, Comsex has had a massive 2 rounds, which is helpful. At the end of the day, you do need to deal with these kind of star players that are able to play this well. Comsex just goes and changes things up with the sniper and goes and proves that he can do it all at long range. And is he going to get a second? No. Jackson finally able to assert a little bit of dominance, and it is going to be a 3v3. And Jackson has the bomb. So this is a prime opportunity for Katana. They do need to get another pick, I would feel, before they need to, obviously they want to get bombed down, but they need to get, this man advantage needs to be taken even further before they decide to plant. And with 55 seconds, plenty of time to get that pick. He is going to just try and bait out a player. Not going to happen. Great patience and great caution from Incentive Rebellion so far.
Yeah, they got to be careful, Tana Pyro, with how many times they try and bait the plant here, because eventually, surely, someone is going to go for the Chow Sirens. It's just round the corner. He's actually going to back up here, and off the top rope, Kaka is going to manage to drop Splashy on that occasion. Sirens will reply with a trade, so now 2 versus 2, but you can see where Dashi is set up already on that high ground, watching over the top of Broken. He has got one man in hands just below him, and you can see the players frantically trying to search for at least one player. Dashi is going to check the bomb, but I think I spotted him. I think he's going to try and push the kill here really quickly. It's now a 1 versus 2 for Hans, so he's got to go quickly. And with 15 seconds left on the clock or so, he's got to move his ass really fucking fast. Is he going to do it? Nope. Dashi absolutely guns him down. And a good round for Katana Pyro. Reduced the lead down just to 1.
Yeah, and it was the one thing we've said that the Katana Pyro haven't been able to do, which they finally do, which is just play with a bit more caution, take the time and get the picks so they get the bomb site control. And then when they get into that position where it's 2v2 and 1v2, they're in a better position to get information, play the time. They haven't done that in the previous rounds. They were just a little too aggressive and relying probably a little bit too much on especially Kakakod and Jackson, on their gun skill. And you can't do that in Search and Destroy. You need the power positions. You need to have the strategies and the plan Bs. Incentive Rebellion, though, still with the 1-round lead, so you would suggest they still have that advantage both psychologically and in essence. But Jack Bags with another big kill, and Comsex has dropped for the very early in the last 2 rounds, and they've both gone the way of Katana Pyro. So that's a big kill major as we see Jackson go 7-3 as well.
Oh, I was going to say it was a 3 versus 3. Jackson, however, will fall. Dashi going to try and do his best to work an angle here. 2 versus 2 now as he picks Hands off. Again, the timer is just the issue on Tuscan time after time. Can they make the trades here? Or Jack able to put shots in, isn't able to finalize the kill. Is he going to check this right corner, which we see so many players use? Jack Chow's out. Splashy grabs the kill. His teammate helps him out. And Incentive Rebellion, they go 1 round away from tying up the series.
Yeah, really good performance, really patient play. They held their angles as well and traded effectively. Good comms as well. So, you would expect that. And this is what we talked about. They needed to do that in the hard point. That's one thing they didn't do was trade effectively. And also they didn't play the lives really well. S&D, completely different team. They're doing really, really well so far. So 1 round away, and you would suggest that Incentive Rebellion, just with the kind of better S&D mentality, potentially going to see them through into this and tie this series up. And again, Major, we could be on for an absolutely, unpredictable and blinding performance. And Comsex again with the big brain and the big sniper, mate. We do love to see it.
Yes, maybe we missed it. I knew I should have watched him. Sirens, though, is going to go around the back and actually pick off Jack, and Kaka's going to fall as well. So this is really falling by the wayside now. Dashi, last man up, 1 versus 4. There's the first kill. And with 1 minute on the clock, it's looking a bit bleak. That bomb for him all the way over towards that A site. He's going to have another free picker potentially if he's quick enough. No, never mind. Splashy makes no mistake about it. Puts every single bullet straight into his skull. And Incentive Rebellion tie up the series 6-3, Pablo.
And sometimes it comes down to individual decisions. Dashi just decides to pop out the handgun, maybe to get a bit more pace and a bit more ground coverage between where he was and where he wanted to be. And unfortunately, the timing not perfect. Mate, you've got to look to Comsex. What a performance! Those first 3 rounds were exemplary ways to play, including an ace in the first round. And from that point onwards, Incentive Rebellion just looked really, really strong. And by the point that Katana Pyro actually managed to play, actual Search and Destroy rather than just being super aggro, it was too little, too late. And Incentive Rebellion going to tie the series up, and we're going to go into this new mode, Tuscan Control. It's literally probably still, we would suggest, slightly imbalanced, but again, this is going to be really interesting to see how they play it. And again, within this position where we can't necessarily plant a flag anywhere, because these teams seem on the face of it, reasonably even matched across, the two game modes. But we're going to control where you can either play TDM or, they got such good control on S&D that you would suggest that they're going to be able to transfer that particular skill to Tuscan control. But who knows, mate? And I'm gonna, game two, we've got the information, Major. Where you planting your flag?
I think respawns. I think Katana Pyro will be good in respawns, to be honest. Knowing what this roster can do, I'll be very surprised if they drop a respawn in the series. I know kind of control is one where at the moment it's kind of up in the air, but I think, again, that kind of, it merits the teams that are naturally good mechanically and are very fast-paced players. And I know the boys of Incentive Rebellion, they looked very good on the search, to be fair to them. You can't take anything away from them in that one. They did look very, very clean in the search. So if they can pinch the control here, I'll tell you what, they're looking good for the series here, because that search was looking very, very clean. They're obviously a roster where they've got a lot of reps under their belts together, I do believe, if memory serves me well. So, again, it's not really surprising to me that they're good at search, because we know how good this team is. It was quite a surprise at how much the blowout was on that Bocage. But yeah, going into map 3, I'm definitely looking towards Katana Pyro again to try and get an edge in another respawn.
Yeah, I mean, they are so solid, and you would expect, obviously, if Jackson and Kaka go off again, that it is going to be a very strong performance. Obviously, in particular, Kaka, we've seen him play so many times before, and if he gets to grips with the game. But obviously, we've been in this position previously. The previous game, we were at this kind of same point, and then from nowhere, the team that were kind of like, obviously, on the descendancy at the very beginning just came through. So, in Central Rebellion, you would suggest if they are able to get all their players firing again, it's the same problem that Vitalized White kind of faced, that they had two players that just weren't performing at the very beginning of the series. If the guys from Incentive Rebellion can do that, then this could easily be their control. And in particular, obviously, slaying wise might be on the hands of Katana Pyro, but in terms of controlling a kill, getting the picks, playing with a bit of caution, but utilizing the time really well, Incentive Rebellion proved that they can do it in S&D, and I think they might be able to. Obviously, straight out the rip, it's going to be, how they deal with that A site, because obviously that is potentially going to be that preferred, first move, unless they throw the cat among the pigeons, Major, and push for that more difficult B site off the rip.
Yeah, and excuse me, I'll quickly just sort out channel point predictions. Apologies, guys, I haven't got enough hands. I need to adopt another pair of hands for sorting out the predictions. But yeah, map 3 due to start very shortly, guys. We're just waiting on. I think maybe one of the lads has just quickly gone to the toilet or something. Either way, we've still got another couple more of Tuscan to go. At least we are guaranteed that that triple Tuscan now pads going in towards map 4. So I think this will be probably quite a common theme with only Gavutu and Tuscan in the rotation at the moment. It would surprise me if we see a lot more Gavutu than Tuscan, because I think as a whole, Tuscan is a map that people just tend to prefer the balance of, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think Gavutu's, I mean, it's quite a thin, long map when you look at it at the base of it, because obviously there are portions of that map where outside of Hardpoint, you don't spend a lot of time around, and obviously you look at that area to the far side of Boat. I mean, it doesn't get used at all, really. So it's not got a great deal of balance in that sense. So it's just Tuscan is potentially going to be. I think people don't like Gavutu all around anyway. It's an oddball map at the best of times. So Tuscan gets chosen, but again, it's a very technical map. That B hill to control the B zone is it's so difficult. We see on Hardpoint time and time again, it ends on that P2 hill, and it's because it's insane. It's got so many lines of entry. It's got different levels. You've got like 3 different levels that you can access on, arguably 4 if you think about the elevation of church compared to where the actual hill is. You've got them small stairs directly in front, which has got a room which is reasonably difficult to predict from, and then you've got the kind of balcony platform area above, and that's just front facing. Then you've got behind if they get the flank on from back church. So it's a truly technical endeavor to be able to get control and ultimately see the zones out. So we do see see a lot of teams pushing to get the A, very similar to Garrison in that sense.
Yeah.
Where you would see some teams try and push towards the right hand side, get control of top green and get the B, but very rarely. Usually it would be that straight push across to the left to get control before lights, and it's very similar in that sense. So yeah, this could be interesting. Hopefully, we're going to get to that map 5. I want to see some more COD. I know you're hungry though, bro. So we'll see how it plays out.
Right, I'll fuel off of the passion in the meantime, and just a quick shout out as well to
Well, to
Army.
be fair, you eat your words so often, you should be really full.
That's true. I should be full up with all the rubbish that comes out of him. I see what he did there. Nice one.
Sorry, bro.
Got him. That's all right. You owe me a few. So yeah, also Army Chip. Yeah, literally Army Chib, Scudderoz, Fizzy, and Junior with the follows. Thank you very much, guys. So we are just waiting. I believe it was a multiple toilet break from one of the teams. Obviously, the mid-map nerves getting the better of them, but yeah, we should be jumping into Tuscan control very, very shortly. And yeah, it's one now, Pabs, where we'll start to see the
chugging the refuel. Sorry, that was such a dad joke.
Oh, that was terrible. That one. That was terrible.
It's really bad, that wasn't it?
Yeah, that was awful. A for effort, but an E for execution. I think that one.
I'll leave the stand-up comedy to actually funny people.
we'll leave it to Miles with his snivelly snipes. But yeah, no. So map number 3 is underway. But yeah, it's weird. It's gonna be interesting to see how this unfolds in control. Perhaps you mentioned kind of that A site over towards the field is one that looks to be the easier of the two to capture. You would argue. So it's going to be. I wonder how many teams will start to try and do that B push quickly, get it done out the way. I remember on Moscow from last year on Cold War, where when that was in the rotation, a lot of teams were looking to try and get the more difficult point done first, which is kind of a general trend, isn't it, really, for control? Get the hard one done, try and catch out the team that's on the defensive side to get it out of the way, and then try and slip your way through and get the more simple one to capture.
The problem with that though is that the easier one is easy because of the way you spawn at the start. So
yeah.
If you get that more difficult B, you essentially create a demon in the new control, because it becomes kind of very easily, more contestable. The spawns are different to the split, and the players are in different positions. So, the argument, I suppose, is from the rip, very similar to the hard point. You see teams push straight across who get the good side, and they're able to just, get. You've got to think, what does it take for a 4-man? Like 7 seconds. And normally you're seeing teams, from good side, 20 and 0 in hard points. So this is one of the problems we talk about in terms of balance and control. And why, if you start on good side, it's so easy to get that A. And what do we see from the rip? We see the guys from Incentive Rebellion just cap A so quickly. And that's why the argument's there. But this makes B is so difficult to get to grips with. And this is why it becomes TDM major. So again, a couple of schools of thought on that one, but I would say, oddly, you're probably going to see the same strategy out of most teams, which is get A as soon as possible, and let's absolutely battle for B.
Yeah, and in Incentive Rebellion, they are now 7 lives to the good. Right off the start here, Hans still hasn't dropped yet and puts 4 in a row now, so this is where it gets a little bit dangerous here for Katana Pyro. They have come absolutely flying out here, and Incentive Rebellion on that first point over towards A, they did look incredibly structured. They were all picking up their lanes that they needed to, and they managed to get the kills, the progress to go with it. And now it's all starting to fall apart a little bit here for Katana Pyro. They will manage to stabilize just for the time being, but Hans now manages to work 5 in a row. You can already see the likes of Kaka just working up middle map, just trying to play the corner to catch a couple of players out. So now it's just a question of when Incentive Rebellion are going to try and orchestrate this kind of push here. Jackson going to be hunting for more players. You see now 3 players in the back from Incentive Rebellion. Jackson's going to be a busy lad here. Jots into Comzex. Can't get anything going on that one. Dashy's going to try and run around the corner, and now the doorway opens, Pablo, and now it's potentially going to be their best shot at getting this B point done.
Yeah, Jack Bags, just camping the corner a little bit, but right now, Incentive Rebellion continuing that really strong kind of S&D strategizing through into control and just look like very dominant. They don't need to be hugely, dominant in the slaying department, because when they do get a wipe, they're straight onto the zone and they're getting that time. And right now, they are only a few seconds away from doing that. And Comsex with a big fight about to go down. That's huge plays by Kaka. He does need to get this, but it's 17 lives, plays 2, and you would suggest Incentive Rebellion looking very, very strong for their money.
Yeah, Incentive Rebellion. Good opening round there from those boys. It'll be interesting to see now how Katana Pyro fare on their first attacking round, whether they're going to go for that A side over towards that field section of the map, or whether they're going to try and switch it up and just try and hit a really quick B push here. So we'll see what they can do. Jackson struggling at the moment. Likewise, though, is pretty much the whole team of Katana Pyro here. So already making me keep my words early on here as I flagged them as probably being decent in this one. But that first round, really, really solid in hands. 12-1. What a round from him. And you can see already the pinch is coming through from Sirens here. The boys of Incentive Rebellion, they definitely look as though they've done a few reps on this because they do look very organized on it.
Yeah, I mean, from the outset, they just look like they strategize well. They're very coherent. In terms of their trades, they're just a lot better than Katana Pyro, and we saw that in terms of non-traded kills. And again, it's just been a solid performance since that S&D. They just seem to have got the tails up because, again, we've got to start to suggest that maybe that, regardless of where it is in the run, is the outlier map. It really doesn't predict a team's capability at all. All it does is predict who's really great at SMGs. So right now, I mean, Incentive Rebellion look like a light years ahead. Look at that kill feed. It's a bot lobby kill feed right now, and Katana Pyro just looking all at sea right now, and that is a worrying development if you're a Katana fan or a member of the Katana organization, because these are a solid four and they're just being bullied right now.
Yeah, I didn't expect this, to be honest. I really didn't expect this. I would be shocked if the boys of Katana Pyro have been practicing a lot on this map, because it is looking a little bit disorientated and kind of a little bit broken up at the moment. But they are going to get on that B point, and the progression is now going to start coming through. Flashy, can he make the play? There's going to be one man on the right in Jackson. Jackson holds strong, able to take down one. There's still a few more players around him as the trades go down. It looks as though Hans is going to look to try and contest for the time being. And now his teammate in Comzex, can he help him out? Takes Dashy down, so they will steady the ship. But they will at least buy themselves a bit of time to get the A progression done. You can see Jack is going to be here, just locking down this left-hand lane. Can Splashy manage to grab the kill? Yes, he can. He just snaps straight onto him. Doesn't miss a bullet, and this is now really important that they get this point, Pablo, because they've only got 28 seconds left, but Comzex is just roaming around, mopping up the pieces, and Katana Pyro, they are really up against it now.
Yeah, that kill over towards the right-hand side of the hill was so big. They were able to absolutely cut off any more momentum on that hill, and huge kills. Comzex seems almost unstoppable. But what it did mean was, Katana Pyro were really nicely set up to push back across to B if they were able to continue getting time on A. Because of that kill, it forced the team to retransition back over towards that A kill, and that's just stopped them from, the time has just been a massive issue. Finally, they're able to take it over, and with 1 minute 4 seconds left, they have got to only get 2 ticks. But man, this is going to be so difficult with only 4 players alive. It's a 9v4, and this is going to be the most difficult set of kills. But if there is one team that can do it, you would suggest it's a team with Kaka Cod, and right now, Jack Bags is playing really well. These guys just need to get their kills.
Yeah, it feels like even for both teams, just get a wave of kills and it makes it infinitely easier. But Kaka, that's a really big kill to get the man out of the back. Hanzo is going on the instant flank, going to try and grab a couple of kills himself. And he managed to pick Jackson off here. It's now 2 remaining. Jackson looks as though he's going to be one of the last men standing. It's now going to be all on Jack. Can he manage to work a 1v7 here? The odds are not in his favour. 25 seconds on the clock. He's still got 7 more Incentive Rebellion players to go through. There's one, though. Is he going to get away with his life? They are on the hunt for him at the moment. He's just going to fly down the top. Not going to manage to pick up that one. And Incentive Rebellion, Pablo, they are 1 round away from taking the lead in the series now.
Yeah, and the work they put in at the start of that round has just seen them through to the end. Katana Pyro did okay towards the middle stages of that, but by that point they were so far behind in terms of lives that it was always going to be difficult. They invested so heavily over towards A that they just didn't have the players to capture B. They had the time and really didn't have the kind of employees to do it. So right now, Katana Pyro on the struggle bus heavily 2-0, and you would suggest Incentive Rebellion, who just looked even stronger in the offensive, have got a really big opportunity. And look at that setup. You can see right there how strong they are. They're going to be able to get these picks. And Katana Pyro just looking all at sea right now, and this is not looking good as they head into this potential 2 ticks on Zone A already. Kaka, though, looking to cause as many problems as possible. He does get 2 picks. Is he going to get the 3rd? Kaka goes huge. The Irishman himself saying that he's not particularly, au fait with Vanguard right now. Well, I would say he's looking very, very tasty right now.
Yeah, really nice work from Kaka, and that was a really big set of kills as well. It looks as though this progression might be inevitable, though, with all the players over on that point. And yep, A point is now secured. Another minute on the clock. for the boys of Incentive Rebellion. So 2 minutes to work with here. Try and get some sort of progression over towards the B site. And the boys in red at the moment, Katana Pyro, they are getting the kills that they need to. Splashy, however, going to open it up just a little bit. Dashi just locked up in church. Needs to try and watch an angle here at least and try and take down maybe one, if not two players with him. There is going to be another player up above him. Surely the call-out comes through. Yep, just about manages to get the kill in the nick of time onto Sirens. And now look at Incentive Rebellion in the back, trying to play those angles, but nice work from Kaka. Keeps his teammate alive. And it looks as though the boys of Incentive Rebellion, they're just going to try and be a bit of a pain in the back here, Pablo, and try and cause a bit of a ruckus here, because it's just going to be a difficult position now for Incentive Rebellion to push through if Katana Pyro gets set up.
Yeah, Splashy just looking to get as much control as possible for the back, but he's left kind of isolated, and he's going to need to do a massive job eventually. It does look like they tried to get him out with a glide, but not able to do it. Splashy just takes it on the chin like a trooper. Siren's going to push through, and that kill feed goes rather worryingly the way of Incentive Rebellion. It's 16 lives, plays 13, so very dominant performance, and it looks like they're going to get some control over. They're going to get at least one tick if they can get these kills. And again, a great performance, you know, either by Hands or Splashy at the back area, just, you know, causing loads of problems. If he gets that two-piece, that would be disgusting. Finally, Kaka and Jackson able to get 2 kills, and that's not even going to be a tick over towards B. And with 42 seconds remaining, it does look like, you know, Katana Pyro finally starting to get an idea of how to deal with these boys in white, because up until then it's been an absolute puzzle they haven't been able to unravel. Kakakod, though, looking very, very strong, and although everyone appears to be negative right now, this is going to be a really important defensive round if they can keep it this way. And with 20 seconds made, you would suggest this is going to go 2-1 to the boys from Incentive Rebellion. But a nice performance finally from the team in red.
Yeah, it's luckily for them, it's not too little too late here. Katana Pyro, they are mopping up what remains of the Incentive Rebellion lads, and I think with 7 seconds remaining, that is going to be a much-needed round there for Katana Pyro, just to steady the ship ever so slightly in this control. They still need another 2 rounds like it, but a good start nonetheless to potentially claw back a comeback here in the control. 2-1 now to Incentive Rebellion, but they've got to do it for another 2 rounds, Paolo, but a really good positive round there from the boys in red. They needed that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you know, we do see this time and time again where teams just need you know, a little bit of time to get warmed up in the round. You would suspect that Katana would have played some control and would be at least familiar with the kind of basics of it. Right now, Katana Pyro did look like they were all at sea, but they finally start to get to grips with it, but maybe just a bit too reliant on the aggression and the gun skill of their players, and not enough on, you know, strategy and getting those power positions and playing that kind of more coherent, more kind of like chemistry based Call of Duty. But right now 2-1, and it could be anyone. To me, Katana Pyro look strong. They've managed to get the ticks over to A. It looks like they're going to have one player there just able to force it over. If he gets the kill, it is going to be Jack Bags, who drops Sirens. So point A secured nice and early, 2 minutes 17, and they've got a 3-life lead as well, so a big moment to tie this series up potentially, but there's still a lot of work to do.
This round is looking absolutely flawless from the boys of Katana Pyro at the moment, and look at the spawns that are coming through. Hands looking to try and make some trades, but they are stacking this hill, and they're going to watch him on the pinch and grab the kill. Dashi takes one down in the back. He's got his teammate nearby. Splashy has to go huge here because this progression is going to start flying through. At least we'll take down one. He's still got Jack nearby, though, and Jack is able to make the trade. It looks as though streaks are going to be thrown at this. Hands wants nothing more to do with these players that are rotating over towards this hill. And the shots come through. Nice work again from Kaka, and look at the lead in lives that they've got. It was 8, now 7. But back to 8 once again. Kaka still trying to finesse his life here at the moment. Will do well to stay alive, and this one flies around the corner, and oh my goodness, somehow manages to win that one. Just flies around the corner and able to win an engagement that he probably shouldn't have, and now he's in a position where he can be a real pain in the back.
Man, he throws the sensitivity up to what, 8 or something. He plays his life, he's jockeying around the pillars, and gets a kill that he definitely didn't deserve. And that is the Kaka COD of old. That is the Kaka COD that just can't be stopped. And right now, you know, he was massively on the struggle bus. He's 21 to 23 and absolutely dominating. Finally dealt with by Comsex, who's had a great performance so far, but he gets absolutely bodied by Jackson, who gets a massive 2-piece. And again, you would suspect Silence probably just needs to be a little less wild right there, but an unfortunate TK comes in as the nade from Jackson drops Dashi, but another big kill, and Kakakod looks to come back and cause a little bit more problems from Incentive Rebellion. This is so close to being round tied up for Katana Pyro, but they're just not able to see it over. just yet, and they need another big team wipe. But who's there? In the end, it's Hands, causing absolute problems. So Incentive Rebellion still being a puzzle that Katana Pyro can't unlock just yet.
Yeah, but with 3 lives remaining, it's looking pretty inevitable. But tell you what, Sirens, Comsix, and Hands drop 3. So, I don't want to start saying something too soon, just in case I get made to eat my words once again. But surely the boys of Katana Pyro are going to see this one out. It's just a question of when they're going to regroup and push it. This next kill could potentially be big here. And Hands isn't necessarily... Might have an engagement, actually. Dashi is coming around the corner very quickly, but now they're down to 2. And Sirens, oh man, you're going to be a busy lad here now. How many can he grab? There's 1. There's still going to be another man up top. Isn't going to be there to make any more trades, and they are going to fall. So Katana Pyro, they are going to take the round, Pabs. And I'll tell you what, the aggression that they're just showing at the moment, going toe-to-toe for gunfights, this is probably what they needed to do, to be fair, considering how structured Incentive have been. It's been a really good regain here from the boys in red.
I mean, we talk about aggression, but they've managed to up the pace. But the other thing they've managed to do really well is they more sensible plays. They've got picks initially over to that A point, and they got it so quickly, finally delivering, which is what Incentive Rebellion have been doing time after time. And if you're Incentive Rebellion, you're probably scratching your head right now, thinking, "Hang on, we were 2-0 up and absolutely flying. What has happened?" But not only is the aggression come through from Katana Pyro, but it looks like they finally remembered how to play control. We are going to see a little bit more aggression come out of Incentive Rebellion. I guess they're going to want to look to kind of replicate what's just happened, and we can see that as they try and dominate that mid-map area. And right now, you would suggest Incentive Rebellion just able to just control it, but a big fight going down towards B. And this is a big moment because Katana are really well set up to get a couple of players on here, and with no one nearby, this could be a really interesting turn of events. If they get 2 ticks over to B, this could be a wild game, and we might even see this game turn completely on its head. Katana Pyro with a big moment. Sirens looking to just sneak around the back. He is going to get a pick there, so it is only going to be 1 zone secured over towards B, but straight away Katana Pyro Major over towards A and looking very solid in the setup.
Yeah, good work again. Nice shots from Kaka. Once more, becoming a bit of a theme now for him as he manages to grab another important kill. The progression over towards A is slowly coming through little by little. It is only Jackson on the point for the time being. They've got to be aware of potentially when one player might slip through to try and get a bit of a sneaky over towards B. Dashi up and towards Top Church. Nice work. Grabs 1 kill. Will just drop down as well, and it looks like he might be trying to help his teammates, maybe trying to make the pinch, because Comzex is playing that position that he likes to play on the pillar. Dashi has absolutely none of it now, and that A progression is now done. So 1 minute 55 on the clock, and Dashi, that was a big moment there, only able to get some shots into 1. Jackie's going to be there for the trade, but now can they get set up on this hill? Can they manage to hold the fort here in Incentive Rebellion? Because there are so many players from Katana Pyro that are raring to go and trying to push their way through the front here. Comzex does a good job, takes down 1. He's got his teammate nearby, so Jack's going to have his work cut out for him as the pinch comes through, and really clean work there from the boys of Incentive Rebellion. They at least hold the first wave, but they've got to be careful because Kaka is lurking.
Yeah, and Kaka is so strong in this position. He's absolutely bodied kids before. They don't realise no one counting players like they used to, but Kaka got able to just hide out in that kind of a distinctive back tank area, and he's got a few kills as well. And more importantly, they've managed to keep this without, in terms of lives, not to run away from them like it did in the previous one. It is a 6 life lead though, which is a reasonable difference, and with 1 minute and 2 zones, 2 ticks needed, this is a big moment for Katana Pyro. You would suggest advantage Incentive Rebellion, and caution is needed, and they're going to need to get picks from big players like Kakakod, who goes absolutely off and brings it down to a 5 life difference. And with them all spawning out, he's going to pick over, and this could be a big moment. Katana Pyro, if they can get a team wipe here, this could be huge. And the trades do go back and forth, but Kaka, mate, remains unstoppable, and the glide's in the back pocket. So, man, where is this going to go? It's already going out. He's got the information. He knows where the players are, and you can guarantee those comms are going out as well.
Yeah, they are throwing everything at this Incentive Rebellion. They're doing their best to stay alive in this one, and they've done just about enough. 7 lives plays 2 now. Kaka, for all the efforts that he's put in, wasn't able to do enough on that B point, and now it's all on Jackson and Kaka. Can they manage to get the all-important kills? Jackson going to have an engagement. Kaka's going to fall. An Incentive Rebellion. They will get that map completed, Pablo. They almost let it slip. But to be fair, big regain in that last round, and they retake the lead.
Yeah, huge performance in the middle of that series from Katana Pyro, showing the resilience that we expect from a Katana side. And again, the players like Katana Kaka are not going to give up. Oh man, look at that performance. Comsex 36 and 29, but right at the bottom there, 32 non-traded kills and over 40 kills for Hans, who just puts in an absolute shift in that Tuscan control to allow his team to go 2-1 up in the series from a position, again, I would suggest, that we didn't think was going to happen after that blockage. And right now, Incentive Esports looking very, very strong. But mate, we are back in this position, almost a mirror image of the game before, where you would suggest that the next map is potentially Katana Pyros.
Yeah, so guys, this is how it has unfolded so far. If you have missed any games, and the boys of Incentive, they now take the lead after dropping map number 1. So good regain from Incentive Rebellion. And now they look towards yet another Tuscan, but it is going to be a hard point on this occasion. Yeah, as mentioned, Pablo, the boys of Katana, they are very good at respawns, but to be fair, Incentive Rebellion may be causing a bit of an upset there. But Katana Pyro, to be fair, they gave themselves a little bit too much to do in that control, really, in the early stages, in those first 2 rounds, because Incentive looked very, very strong in those first 2 rounds and that subsequent final one.
Yeah, absolutely. They've dominated quite heavily. You would suggest that the regain from Katana Pyro really was, I mean, I would almost go as far as to suggest Incentive kind of took the foot off the gas a little bit. Obviously, Kaka Cod went into a new gear as well, so he was on the struggle bus heavily in them first 2 rounds and then just came back solidly. So just a good performance from him, but a good performance from Katana Pyro across the board, but just not able to see it out, and just enough in the tank from Incentive Rebellion to just see that through. But right now they are on the ascendancy, but I would just suggest that Hardpoint is a very natural kind of playground for the likes of Kaka, and this potentially we could see a game 5, so you could be going all the way onto the in terms of when you get your food, mate. It's going to be a 10 10 potentially. But yeah, I think this is Katana's particular round, and then we go into an S&D, and honestly, Incentive have looked so strong in S&D that we could almost see that kind of mirror image that we saw from the previous game. But again we're in this position where it's really difficult to call.
Yeah, and the last time we cast Katana Pyro on a Tuscan hardpoint, this was the one I'm pretty sure where Dashi and Jackson had an absolute whale of a time. I think it was FBG Melon they played, yeah, and they were mopping up kills on this one, so it wouldn't surprise me if we see that once again in map 4. We are just waiting for the old countdown timer, and then I can ping the screens over. But yeah, this is one now, Pablo, where I think if you're Katana Pyro, you've got to really get a strong start. We saw it in the previous series with Team Arise when they kind of let that one slip.
Yeah.
So the boys of Katana Pyro, who I think might be on good side. I will just double check here though for P1. Yes, they are. So yeah, they really need a strong start here on Tuscan to potentially try to snowball something here, because it's one where they're good at this map, but Incentive Rebellion, you can't really look past them. They might give them a really good game here.
Yeah, and the player with First Blood, Comsex, is the one to look out for. He's been absolutely monumental in most of the games, but he had a really strong S&D, obviously. But yeah, I think on a map like this, where you do see some ARs prosper, this could be, especially the ones that can almost treat it like an SMG, you're going to see them do well. But it looks like Kaka straight away, just looking to get involved. Dashi with a 2 already. So right now, again, we would expect Katana Pyro to be able to hang in terms and do better in terms of slaying, but you would just want to look to Hans, who went 40 and over 40 kills in the control. Right now he's 0-3, and that's not what you want to see from these kind of players. You want that momentum carried over into this, and mate, we don't often see it. We do see teams dominate that early P1, but 48-0 is suggests the Katana Pyro are looking very comfortable in this Tuscan hardpoint, and we might be heading for a game 5 if it stays like this.
Yeah, you can see why teams prefer that side for the P1 and then just kind of bank on being able to push through for the next P2. So that's exactly what Katana Pyro are going to try and work here. As Jackson goes all the way out the back, there's going to be a man right underneath him. Comzex shots in. Jackson manages to get the kill, so that's 3 dead. Last man up, Sirens is going to fall, and that is exactly how you want to work it if you're Katana Pyro. They hold a lot of time on P1, and they just punch through for P2 now, so the timer really starting to add up now for Katana Pyro. And Jackson, 4 in a row, hasn't even dropped yet in all the madness that's ensued. They've got to be careful, though, because Sirens working his way around the back. Never mind. I did it again, Pabs. I just jinxed it. He was doing well. I'm just gonna shut up and leave these guys to it, because they're gonna learn to hate me for doing that.
I'm getting to the point where I think you just don't want to see streaks anymore. It's just like, oh, I don't want to go to that. I don't want to see these flying bombs. But no, huge plays by United Esports to be able to drop that. That's going to be an important. They don't need glide bombs coming in on them. They're already in enough trouble as it is, just trying to hang with Katana Pyro right now. And this is, big moment. I mean, at the end of the day, Katana Pyro want to take this. They'd rather take this and then have the opportunity to try and save face in the S&D. So big moment for them. They've got a really nice cushion though going into this, and Dashi at the back. We've seen him time and time again hold from this position and do really, really well. Katana Pyro just spread out enough, so a lot of information going to be coming their way. So Zenith Rebellion now probably going to have to mix up the approach because Katana Pyro are going to be waiting for him.
Yeah, and Dashi locked out the back. They do get a big couple of kills here. Comzex isn't able to get past Dashi, who will get 5 in a row. Looking to try and mop up some remaining players, though, Katana Pyro, and they are going to do it. So, an important 20 seconds here for the boys. It looks as though Hans is also realizing the importance of this as he's going to try and come around the corner. He might get some god timing, takes down one. He's still got to go through Jack in the hill, and he's going to get caught out with the nade in his hand. So, a big kill potentially for Incentive Rebellion just to stop the leak of time that has been going through to Katana Pyro, because again, they're on the rotation. They're set up, and oh wow, that's some good timing. Hans is actually going to manage to work his way all the way in towards the hill. Kaka's going to get taken down, and it looks as though Hans is still hunting for more, but the boys in red are there, Pablo. They're set up once again on the rotation. Incentive Rebellion, eventually, surely they're going to make the call to chalk one rotation here, and chalk the scrap time just to get the rotation, because they are losing out on them, but oh, I've done it again. They just broke in. Never mind. I'm just gonna retire now, I think, at this stage.
You just need, I mean, and the way you've got to look at it is that Major probably needs a mid-series regain on the caster at any moment.
Absolutely.
Now, just flip those things over and, just change the way he's looking at the game, and things are probably going to pick up. But I was going to say exactly the same thing. In fact, I was about to eat my own words. I was about to say how well Katana Pyro would do in church. It's a close quarters environment. They would definitely prefer this kind of engagement, in particular Kakakod. And Dashi, just unfortunate time. And now what happens is they get wiped by Vitalize, and then Vitalize able to transition over. So a great opportunity for them to reach. But Katana Pyro is very, very strong at the minute, with a huge lead on Tuscan. You would suggest this potentially away, but big plays by Dashi with the AR. And again, we said this earlier on, if you've got a good AR who enjoys close quarter combat with it, this could be a dominant performance. Kakakod needs to go big, and he manages to get a really important kill. And again, he's going to get tied up. His timing in this map has been shocking so far, and unfortunately for him, he does get tied up trying to throw a grenade. So Siren's going to be on stairs, and potentially going to get that 2-2, but he does get dropped by Jackson, who goes big in the hill for the 2. And right now, Katana Pyro looking awesome. And my God, the shot punch comes in. Can anyone stop Jackson Major? That is the question.
Yeah, this is the duo I was talking about on this map, Jackson and Dashi. When they put kills together on Tuscan, Katana Pyro are a completely different outfit, and they've done it again once more. The boys in Incentive Rebellion, they are rotating over towards the new hill. The glide bomb's going to come through from Jack, going to go straight in towards that top fire, and he is going to grab that important kill out of that power position. But now Hans, and he works something in through you. He's going to fly around the corner straight in towards Kaka, and a really important kill there for Incentive Rebellion, just to try and, again, steady the ship, because they are getting blown out the water ever so slightly here at the moment. And a couple of players, oh, that's timing for you. Hans was literally staring down the barrel at 2 players, and unfortunately wasn't going to be able to grab it, but the glide bomb comes through. Is going to tag him up. Katana Pyro looking to make this hill a little bit messy up the top there. You don't normally tend to see that route from Kaka, I believe it was on that occasion. Just flies straight through, but nice shots again coming through from Splashes. Incentive Rebellion look to try and get those 26 seconds on the clock here, because they're an important one, Pablo, because if they really let this one start to slip away from them, Katana Pyro, especially if they've got the rotation for P2, are going to be in the driving seat once again.
Yeah, they need to be within a hill. They can't let this go beyond 60 seconds. I think it's too much. I think Katana Pyro are too strong in that position. So great work from them to get like a really good double hold on that. They repelled 2 big breaks from Katana Pyro. That's allowed them to get almost entirely all the time on this P1 in this second rotation, and they've kept this now within 45 seconds. So a huge performance, and make that kill feed's been wiped for quite a long time now, as the players from Incentive Rebellion just start to pick up up kills and start to feel themselves a little bit. But when we did need to look to the likes of Sirens and the likes of Hands to go and have another monumental performance. And what are we seeing? Team wipe after team wipe. And mate, what was a 70, 80 point game is now about to be tied up, and they're looking very, very strong for the money. And potentially, you know, they're seeing this out, and that's a great position. Comsec's really big power position. He's got the information. Sirens is going to come around the back and get 2-3 easy kills, and that's a great performance, Major, from Incentive Rebellion right there.
Yeah, what a regain this has been from Incentive Rebellion. It felt like this one was just getting blown away from them, but they are completely back in this game, and the scrap time is going to pretty much put them smack bang even again, these two teams. So this next hill is important. Again, Dashi out the back where we're used to seeing him, just on the heady, and the boys of Incentive Rebellion, they are going to try and work their way in. It's not going to be easy. They're going to try and do it behind the glide bomb. Comzek's going to invest it, but he's actually going to get taken down there, and it's going to land right on the head of Dashi, who just takes it like an absolute champ. And the boys of Katana Pyro, they are still lurking in towards the hill. The time sticking in their favor just for the time being. Jackson doing a good job of just keeping his head down, because we've seen this hill so many times, Pablo, where you can get the man in, but it's a completely different story trying to keep him alive. As Sirens again is going to throw another kitchen sink at Dashi, and there you go. Strafing run and glide bomb will equal a dead Dashi in that occasion.
Finally falls. It just took 3 bits of ordnance to kill him. With a head like thunder, Dashi manages to die eventually. 179 to 166. This game is still incredibly close, but again, that water fountain hill just proven really difficult for Incentive Rebellion to deal with. Just don't seem to have the answers for Katana Pyro. But we're going to go into this Churchill where they were reasonably successful with breaking last time, and with the game so close, this is definitely an opportunity for Incentive Rebellion. Again, Katana Pyro with the spawns though, so this is a big moment. And you see Jack Bags drop Sirens, so this is you would say advantage towards Katana Pyro, as they do look like they've got that power position, but kill after kill as Comsex and Hands do look like they've fired on all cylinders, and they're getting kills. Comsex in this power position, we know he enjoys a good power position, and that he's able to rack up big numbers, and again he's just going to get another kill. No one able to push him out, and again he just can't be stopped. Finally drops as Jack Bags finally does him, and what happens? Jackson comes in with the TK, mate, again dropping Jack Bags, and Hands is going to be there for the trade. And right now, mate, Incentive Rebellion looking very strong as we go into the hills that they've been reasonably successful at taking towards the end of the rotation. So huge moment in this game, and if Katana Pyro don't get back involved, I would suggest this could be a problem for the boys from Ireland.
Yeah, Comzek's going to be helped out by Splashy here, who just throws himself out towards the side of Katana Pyro to see if they can get anything, and they will manage to force their way in towards the hill. So again, nothing separates these two teams as we go over towards what is arguably the messiest hill in Call of Duty history in terms of nades. Jack going round the back, 4 in a row for him. Looking to try and make pinch. Can he grab at least one here? Yes, he can. 5 in a row for Jack. Looking for the 6th. The nades are coming through, though. Comzex knows he's around there, and he will take him down with the nade in the end. So Jack is only going to have the glide bomb to work with, but they're still on the time, and they are still pushing this ever closer. Nice shots from Comzex. Can he get the second? No, his automaton just going to run short of bullets on that occasion, but he's still got help. Splashy and Sirens, they are still locking up, but down from underneath is going to be Jack once again. Big kill on the cards. No, not going to come through on that occasion, and with 20 seconds left on this one, the boys of Incentive Rebellion, Pablo, they are ever closer to getting this, but it's some really big scrap time that Kakakod is actually able to grab. Wow, this rotation now is huge.
Yeah, they're already set up for P1. They're trying to get themselves in the most powerful position they can. And we already see Dashi as he drops Hands, and that's going to be a big kill. Sirens does get the pick over towards mid. They need to maintain that mid control. They have got 2 players there, and there's going to be a big fight go down in Church, and that could be a valuable one as we see number 1, Jackson, could have a massive impact. He gets dropped. Incentive Rebellion with the team wiping with 5 seconds remaining. This is looking potentially like a win. Comsex is going to get the glide out as well. Man, this is game over for Katana Pyro as Incentive Rebellion do the unthinkable and go, you know, from what was a very difficult performance at the very beginning to take this 3-1. And Major, what a performance across the board from the boys in white.
Well, I'll tell you what, how about that for a mid-map regain there from Incentive Rebellion on a map that was looking as though it was getting so far away from them at stages. That middle phase towards the end was all Incentive Rebellion. They rotated effectively. We saw the importance of the P1, and we've seen that a lot of times when teams look to try and get even just a smidgen of time on that P5. If you don't win that rotation onto P1, it really punishes you, especially if you're behind the game. And the boys of Incentive Rebellion, fair play to them. They made that one stick, and they come away with the 3-1 series win. And justly rewards there for the boys of Incentive. Good games from them.
Oh, 100%. Just a really good performance from the outset. And again, you know, if you'd have taken a poll at the end of Bocage, you would have suggested, wow, Katana Gaming look amazing. They fired on all cylinders. The guys look insane. Kaka Cod has absolutely gone off. And the guys from Katana just look strong. And then from nowhere, we get this huge slap 6-3 from Incentive. And, you know, it was a hell of a performance. They were very dominant in the early stages of Tuscan's control, but then just slipped off with a great regain from Katana Pyro. Again, it's one of these kind of maps where they don't really tell the tail of the tape as such. Katana Pyro in this all the way, you would suggest, maybe with the exception of the S&D, but, you know, just not able to maybe the consistency or the discipline in terms of strategy towards the end of these maps to just see it out. But what a regain in the Tuscan Hardpoint from Incentive Rebellion. Absolutely dominant towards the end of that, and just great play. A turnaround in fortunes for Splashy and Hands, who just went off. Great performance, man, and hats off to Incentive Rebellion. Not a lot of work, I would suggest, for Katana Pyro. Back on the drawing board, though. They just need to fine-tune some of their sloppier elements.
Yeah, and Mr. Lawson Cod coming through with the tier 1 sub. Thank you very much, buddy. And we'll have a few of those. And Comzex wants the Sue as well coming through. Big games there from him, especially in the search, Pablo. He had a really good map in the search. So GG's there to both teams. That is going to be our final series of the evening. Apologies, guys. We will dip pretty sharpishly on this one because I am absolutely starving. I haven't eaten since about 12:30, I think, so I'm going to scoot away and try and grab some food. But a big shout out to everyone who's tuned in once again. You guys showing the support on the channel has been absolutely mind-boggling. A big congratulations there to all the teams that secured the dubs. Obviously, the boys of Team Arise, unfortunate not to win their series. Vitalize White managed to win that one 3-2 earlier, and obviously the boys now in Incentive Rebellion going to take this one in a 3-1 fashion in Division 2. So tomorrow, Division 1 is going to be underway. Hopefully, we will be able to bring you guys as many of these games as possible. There's just so many to pick from. But in the meantime, guys, that will be it from us this evening. Once again, a huge thank you to, obviously, my man, Mr. Pabs. Thank you for joining me once again, Pablo.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Always lovely to be on board, and what a fine evening of Call of Duty. And it continues as the CDL Classic, obviously rocking right now as Subliners take on Seattle Surge, and it's looking like an absolute classic already with Seattle Surge. It looks like they took the S&D after a huge performance again from the rookies in Civ and Pred. So, mate, plenty of Call of Duty to watch, plenty to play, and again, you know, stay tuned to the Majors channel for the best in Call of Duty across the EU next week, because we are going to be here all week.
Yeah, we've got a busy one ahead, that's for sure. We're going to need a lot of sleep. Probably a lot of G Fuel as well to go with it. I'll have to get some order on or something.
Refuel?
Yeah, oh, God, don't you start again. So, yeah, guys, that is going to be it from us this evening. Once again, a huge thank you to everyone who's dropped by, followed, new and old. And obviously a big shout out to Mr. Heffy as well for dropping the 10 gifted. Thank you very much, buddy. But that is going to be it from myself and Pabs. If you can head over to Smudge's channel and show him a bit of love, because we tried raiding him the other day and Twitch lied to me. It said he was online and then obviously he wasn't, literally the second we clicked raid. So if you can go over there, drop him a follow, show him some love, that'll be very much appreciated. But we should be back tomorrow evening, guys, for what could be our first couple of games in Division 1. If not Division 2, we'll be back once again. And yeah, big thanks again, guys. We will catch you all then.
Yeah. Same bomb.
Yeah, take your time. I'm gonna stun A plat. Yeah, stun two people with A plat.
Double stun.